What's up, Dream Warriors? Welcome back to another episode of a podcast on Elm Street. I'm Mark.
And I'm Brooke.
And this is our final episode of our Screamin September. Even though it's October 2nd, we are finishing it off. We're a couple days later than we want it to be, but that's okay. Yeah, this is episode 5. So obviously we're doing Scream 5. And we are joined by none other than Joshua Bowers from the Horror Movie Crew.
Woo! Dude, you use my trouble name. That's what I get called when I'm in trouble.
What's your middle name?
Ryan.
Joshua Ryan Bowers.
That's
Report
it.
to the principal's office, please.
I feel like we need to get you like an at-bat like intro song, like
Yeah.
you know.
Your walk-up theme music.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I want like the Stone Cold Steve Austin glass breaking, like
Yeah.
stunner. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll just go grab a glass right now and smash it on your floor and we'll get it started.
I'm not going to do that. That's like a lot of work later.
But yeah, you're making your triumphant return for our Scream in September. You're supposed to be on for Scream 2, but you bitched and complained enough that we decided to bring you on for Scream 5 instead because you haven't had a chance to talk about this movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I wasn't having it, dude. I was like, you know what? Fuck Scream 2. I've already talked about it on an episode. I want to go for Scream 5. I have not talked about it.
I have to ask first, what is that beside your big Game of Thrones book? Closest to the Halloween poster.
That is a dire wolf.
Okay. I couldn't make it what it is, but okay.
Yeah, it's like Howling at the Moon kind of thing.
It is. It is. I got it because it kind of looks like a mixture of Greywind and Ghost. Like if Ghost and Greywind had a baby, it would be that thing. I can't.
Okay.
That.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
And then next to that is Arya over there.
Yeah.
Everything's backwards.
Further.
And then Jon Snow, and then another dire wolf.
All right.
And then Tyrion, the Night King, Dany, and Drogon.
So you don't like Game of Thrones at all.
And then I have all of the Game of Thrones books that are released in leather bound right there.
Whoa.
Ooh,
And then I
shit.
have all of the Game of Thrones books in like the economy ones that I bought so I could read it while I was traveling because I didn't want to ruin the leather ones.
Damn, look at you.
Yeah, nerd alert.
Does your basement smell like rich mahogany and leather-bound books?
Yes, so it's like you just walked into a library.
Nice.
Yeah, so it smells like a big ball of fuck in library.
More like a big ball of not fuck.
Or that too.
Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you say dire wolf one more time?
Dire wolf?
Nice.
Why? What is wrong with the way I say dire wolf?
I don't know.
It doesn't
every
really
episode-
sound weird to me. It sounds fine to me.
Really? Okay. Maybe it's just me.
Every episode I do, somebody critiques the way I speak.
Well,
I
it's
can't
either
help it.
it's either roof for roof
The roof.
or woof for wolf.
Wolf. Dire wolf. How do you
Brooke-
say it?
Brooke doesn't hear that. Okay. All right. Maybe it's just me then. Dire wolf?
Dire wolf.
Wolf.
That's what he's saying.
Dire wolf.
Wolf. Okay.
What are you, a fucking speech? Did you go to college for speech therapy or something? Like, I feel like you're the Dr. Phil of speech therapy. Dude. You're not even a doctor. Like, give this guy a show and let him critique how people talk. Jesus, Simon Nitley.
I got my PhD in grammar policing.
Your PhD in dipshit.
All right. Fuck.
I love you.
Put your Jason mask back on. We couldn't hear you speak as much.
All right.
It's like Walmart brand Jason.
It is. No, it's a Dollar General, dude. Abby got like 100 of these things for like $1 each. Those and Ghostface masks were on sale. I got like so many of each of them. It's crazy.
Love it. You should start like making custom masks out of them.
I was thinking about it. The new Jason one is like $50 or $60 at
Spirit?
Yes. I was like, holy shit. Because I wanted to get rid of the 3 cheap ones
Mhm.
and get the good one with like the
Yeah.
actual red marks and stuff on it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, nah.
It's pretty expensive. Speaking of Spirit Halloween, what do you guys think about this movie that they're making?
I didn't even know they're making a movie.
Yeah. There's a Spirit Halloween movie coming out.
Like a documentary or like their own
No.
movie they're doing.
No, their own movie. It's called Spirit Halloween.
Who's in it? Do we know?
It's a bunch of kids. I'm not sure.
I'm in. I'll watch it. Fuck it. I tell you what, though, I had this conversation with Lucy today because we had to go look for a new Halloween costume for Charlotte because the one she wants we can't get until after Halloween, which makes no sense. But so we had to go to Target, and our closest Target is like 30 minutes away. So we had to get in the car, drive to Target, and it was like a big ordeal. Anyway, she's like, "Are we going to Spirit Halloween?" I'm like, "No." Every time I go in that motherfucker, I spend $200. I'm like, "I'm not doing it anymore, dude." No, sorry.
I need to get to one this year. I haven't been to one in a couple of years.
Do it during a pay week, dude, because it's expensive.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And I can't bring the wife with me. She's got to stay at home. Yeah. All right. Anyways, off the rails within the first 10 minutes. Before we start talking about this movie, what have you guys been watching this week? Has there been anything interesting? Josh, you want to go ahead and fill us in?
Sure. So Abby and I went to Hocking Hills for the weekend. I'm back, obviously, now. I'm not filming from there. But so we had no internet, and it was fantastic, dude. So we had to bring the old school Blu-ray player and watch actual movies. So I got to rub it in her face why I have all these DVDs over here that you guys can't see.
Yeah.
She always asks me, she's like, "Why do you buy the DVD when we stream everything anyway?" And I'm like, "Well, if it's the same price for the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the digital code, why not just pay for it and get all three? And then in instances like this, I have the movie." So we watched Annabelle Creation because Abby had never seen it. We watched Halloween 2018, Scream 5, and X. She'd never seen X either.
Right.
So watch X. And that was it.
Nice. So like whenever you guys go on these trips and you're like, what's your process of picking a movie? Just like grab random ones and kind of pick once you get there or what?
That's a good question because this time we got really lucky because we would have been like screwed hard because we had the car packed. We were getting ready to leave. The girls were going to my mom's, so they were all in the car. And Abby's like, "Did you get the DVD player?" And I was like, "Oh, shit." So I ran down here because it was still in my bag from the HMC cabin trip, and I grabbed it out of the bag. And I literally, all the Scream movies are over here. People are going to get so sick of me pointing to shit, but all the Scream movies are here. And I knew I needed to watch it for this. So I grabbed it as I walked by here, and then I walked around to the DVD rack, the thing with all the fucking movies on it, and I grabbed X because she had never seen it, and then I just like randomly grabbed movies.
All right.
I got lucky. I had a nice selection this time, but sometimes it gets rough, dude. Like maybe what's the shitty one with the little guy? It was like they played video games, and this is a terrible description.
Jumanji?
No. It's a horror movie. It was fuck, man, never mind.
They play video games.
Stay Alive. The movie Stay Alive.
Yeah.
For some reason, I can see it now. I'm looking at it, and I always, for some reason, end up grabbing that fucking movie, and we never watch it.
That is a good selection that you brought, though.
Yeah.
Those are all good movies.
So. We got so lucky, though, because we got there, and there was a DVD player, but they had Speed Racer and Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler.
That's a great movie, but yeah.
It's depressing is what it is.
It is, yeah.
Could have watched that on repeat for the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's not a vacation movie.
No. And if like a deer walked by and took a piss, the DirecTV went out. So it was like we had to just watch DVDs.
Yeah. Who has those movies as like, hey, yeah, we have a fucking Blu-ray player at this cabin or whatever it is, but you can only watch these two shit. Well, The Wrestler's not shit, but Speed Racer's shit.
I'm guessing it was either stuff people left there or
That's
I don't
fair.
know. I'm assuming people left that shit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. And you also watched The Monsters.
Oh, I did watch The Monsters on Netflix this week while I was traveling. Sorry, I totally forgot. Did you guys watch it?
No, we still don't have it on our Netflix. I don't get it.
No.
Why don't you just log into mine and watch it?
Well, I have a VPN too, so I could probably just do that. But
I tried that and it wasn't I don't
Oh,
know, for
really?
whatever reason, it wasn't working on my laptop. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So I watched it twice. Okay. Well, actually,
Jesus.
1.5 times. Because what happened is I was traveling and I got to my hotel early before I had to be out for a dinner. So I was answering emails and had it on. And I was like listening. Really, I was just listening to it because I was answering emails. And I was like, I want to be able to pay full attention to this fucking movie because there were like some one-liners by Richard Brake that I was like laughing at.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to truly, because let's be honest, I'm going to say I like it even if it sucks, just because I'm that guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm laughing at it, so it's probably funny, but I'm not really giving it my full attention. So I went out to dinner, came back, and then I watched it all the way through, and I just sat, didn't have my computer, I just watched the movie. And I have to say, even though I'm biased, if you go into it knowing what it is not a bad movie.
Well, all three of you, like you, Jess, and Seth, all said it was like fun. It was a decent movie to watch.
And that is a fair, if you take the three of our opinions and you mix them together, generally you get a fair assessment of a movie because Seth and I don't agree on much.
Yeah.
Jess and I are both big Rob Zombie fans. So we're both a little biased, but for Seth to say that it was a good movie, that means that probably if you're going into it and you're hating it, maybe you're being a little biased.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I definitely do really want to watch it. And I'm kind of super pissed that it's not on our Netflix because I planned on watching it this weekend. But
yeah,
I want to watch it and Hocus Pocus 2 this weekend, and neither one of them got watched.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch Hocus Pocus 2 either because we couldn't stream anything. But yeah, I really enjoyed Monsters. I don't know that's what I'm going to watch regularly. It's also, I think, one that kids could watch, honestly. It's not...
Yeah.
It's very like kiddie. It's very campy. It's very goofy. Yeah. It reminds me of like a Disney movie that like one of my kids would watch that it's not, if you go into it expecting rejects or corpses or something like that, you're going to be drastically disappointed.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. I'll shut up.
All right. I didn't watch that much this week. Let's see. I watched a movie called The House. It was on the 2022 horror list, but really it's not really a horror. It's like a stop motion, like anthology movie. Really only like the first part is like creepy. Mm-hmm. The other two aren't really that scary at all. But I thought it was pretty good. I went to watch Smile on Friday and I had a great time with it. Definitely better to see it in like a packed movie theater just because you get that experience. I kind of wish I didn't see the trailer for it because like the two main like scares they show in the trailer, like it kind of takes away from that in the movie. So that was the only part I was kind of disappointed in. And so it was...
I'm going to see it Wednesday, Abby and I. The funny thing is we watched X at the cabin so we could go see Pearl. And then after watching X, Abby was like, yeah, I really liked it. And I was like, would you rather see Pearl or Smile? And she's like, I really want to see Smile because of the reactions it's getting. But you saying that now worries me that everything that I was excited about was shown in the trailer.
Not everything. It's just like the two main things, like the girl walking up to the car. I assume you've seen the trailer, right?
Yeah.
And so the girl walked up the car. That scene is literally just that, and then like the opening scene with the girl smiling in the therapist office. Like the rest of the movie is good. Like the camera work, the sound really builds up the scares, and there's like a few jump scares, but they're not like overdone. Like one of them is really good and got everyone in the theater. So yeah, it's still good. But I haven't seen Pearl, so I can't really compare the two.
Let me ask you a question. So I heard that this movie, Smile, is supposed to have one of the best jump scares since the lipstick demon jump scare in Insidious. However, don't know how this happened, but we were watching Hulu, and Hulu had like a Hulu, like a 15-second clip for Smile. And I don't want to give too much away for Mark, but basically the girl's looking at a computer screen and then there's a jump scare. Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah, that is the one. But there's other ones too, but that one was the most effective because like, I don't want to say much, but like they use the sound really well in it. Like the build up, the camera work is like super close to people's faces and like changes all the time. So the buildup is really good. And the ending was crazy too. It was bonkers. But yeah. Then I randomly watched Gladiator. I haven't watched that in a while. And finally watched my first Charlie Chaplin movie, Modern Times. It was pretty good. It was okay. Definitely not my cup of tea, but it was funny. He's a weird fucking dude, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was light for you. Wow, I'm impressed.
It's
So we
very
just
light.
recorded on like what, like
Wednesday. Yeah.
I brought a pillow and a cot over here. I was gonna lay down and take a nap while you went.
Yeah, mine's not much bigger. Here we go. So yeah, I watched The Exorcist this week. Brooke, I texted you. I was like, I gave it another shot. Still not my cup of tea. I still think it's overrated, but
yeah.
I mean, I gave it 3 stars. Like it was legendary for its time, and like putting yourself in 1973 watching this for the first time, like it would be fucking terrifying because a lot of it was shit like they hadn't seen back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. I just think it's overrated for our generation. Like for people to say that it's their favorite horror movie now, I think. Yeah. I watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of Brooke's favorite movies.
It is, yes.
It was on the IMDb top 250 list, so I wanted to give it a shot. This is the first time watch for me.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. It was a little confusing at times, kind of had like sort of a Matrix sort of feel to it in a way, like one of those movies that you kind of have to watch like 4 or 5 times to really grasp what's going on.
Yeah, it's a pretty big cast too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really surprised with all the actors that are in it. And lastly, I watched Coraline with the kids today.
Nice.
I was planning on watching it myself anyways, because it's October, so I'm going to try and do 31 horror movies at least this month. It's going to be a busy month this week for me, but starting this week, I should say. But yeah, I really didn't think it would grab Brady's attention, but he was fucking sitting there with his eyes glued to the screen for the whole movie. So
nice
success. It's a great movie. If you guys haven't watched it in a while, I recommend it.
Both my kids really enjoy it. They just released it. It may be over now, or maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it was supposed to be in theaters for like one of those limited showings.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lucy was interested in going, but maybe it hadn't even happened yet. I don't know, but
I love the animation style in it.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seems animated, but it also seems stop motion. I don't know. It's hard to get a grasp on what it actually is.
It's is that a Tim Burton movie?
No.
Okay. Because it's very Tim Burton-y.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it is actually.
I don't think
it is.
It is.
Look it. I have this.
Ooh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
I bought it at a yard sale. It's got 3D glasses with it.
Oh, wow. If it was a Tim Burton movie, it would say Tim Burton all over that thing.
Well, it says from the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, but he didn't direct it, did he?
Yeah, no, he didn't. No. They just plaster his name all over it. Like Josh said.
He produced it, yeah. So I don't know who directed it. I don't know. There's nothing on the back, so I can't tell. But
one thing I wanted to touch base on, I think you guys know this, but I have never seen The Exorcist.
Still, you haven't?
No, I don't want to watch it because I'm afraid I'm gonna dislike it so much that like I just don't want to go through that. So like I feel like I should watch it, but I don't want to.
Right.
I don't think you'll dislike it so much that like you'll feel like it's a waste of time. Like it's cinematic history, right? Like it's considered one of the scariest horror movies of all time and all that shit. And that bit I think is still 1973 talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's worth a watch for sure.
Okay,
like it's not a poorly made movie in any sense of the word, but
Don't you feel like it's like, in my opinion, sort of like how I feel about Halloween is that the people that came from that generation love that movie and that's their favorite scary movie. And maybe it's what got them into horror. But when you compare it to today, it just doesn't hold up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how I would describe it.
I probably just pissed off half your listeners. Sorry.
That's fine. I already have. Actually, you threw out the Halloween comment too. So yeah, maybe you pissed off a few more.
I was waiting on it, dude. I listened to your last episode with Chuck, and I think I texted you guys this about Jamie Lee Curtis. As you guys know, I am not a Jamie Lee Curtis fan either, and I was just waiting on you and somebody to say that they weren't either, and you just like threw fucking gasoline all over that fire, Mark. I happen to think, and Chuck, like, he was very quiet.
He was
very quiet because he got up and left, took the headset off and walked away.
Yeah, well,
and then came back with daggers in his eyes.
That's hilarious. But yeah, we had an entire episode where we talked about that. But I am in agreement with you on Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she's not a bad actress, just an overrated scream queen.
Agreed.
All right. It's been a long enough intro considering we've only watched like 4 movies each this week.
Yeah.
So let's cue the theme music and we'll dive on into this movie discussion. All right. Like we said in the intro this week, we're talking about Scream 5 from 2022. It came out earlier this year, February, I think it was. Was it February? March, maybe?
I thought it was January.
I thought it was the beginning, like end of January, early February, but I think January is correct.
Yeah. Maybe March was when the physical release came out. But so this is the 5th episode of our Screamin September. This caps it all off. We had to bring Josh back for this one. First time any of us have talked about this movie on a podcast, and we all have similar thoughts, I think. So I think it'll be a good discussion. But before we start talking about it, what's everybody drinking tonight?
Well, you already know. I already grabbed my big ass glass of wine because I felt bad that Mark was going to drink alone. So
yeah,
I'm drinking herbal tea, which is empty.
Uh-oh.
Looks like a dead mouse in there.
It does actually.
And I'm drinking blackberry citrus club sodas. So that it's mimicking the effects of vodka sodas.
There you go.
Nice.
That's my drink of choice. I am 3.5 weeks not drinking.
Very nice. Not even like a little bit?
Not at all.
Wow.
Good job.
No alcohol. I think I'm going to go for a whole year. We'll see what happens.
How do you feel after these 3.5 weeks?
I feel fucking fantastic, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's good.
I feel great. I'm not lying either. I'm not like trying to tell myself that I feel great. My mom asked me the same thing. She was like, how do you really feel? Honestly, like I feel more productive. I'm not groggy in the morning. Like I feel great.
Oh, good for you. I'm not going to try and be your therapist. If you say you feel good, you feel good.
No, I don't want people to think I'm lying, but like I really do. I feel more productive, and it's a good thing because as you guys know, I operate at like pedal to the metal all the time. So having extra time is great.
Sweet. I was all out of beer, so Sarah was going to the grocery store today. I asked her to pick me up some like Halloween themed beer, and she came back with Kronenberg 1664. Because apparently the grocery store didn't have any. So,
oh, dude, I thought it was for like David Cronenberg. I was like, damn,
no. Actually, wow, I never even thought of that.
Maybe she did get Halloween beer after all.
Yeah. Fuck. Bravo to her. I never even thought of that. I really like this beer though, so I'm happy that she got it. I haven't had it in a while.
I can tell by that slurp and gurgle you just did how much you enjoy that beer because it literally made my stomach acid go up into my throat. Like my little flap down here was like doing all it could to hold that down after hearing that. It was like
it's a full can. I had to get the little.
Yeah, Mark's trying to relapse you, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that made me want to vomit. Like you slurped that thing like somebody had paid you to top them off, and you didn't want to make a mess and in fear that you weren't going to get a good tip. So like a little bit started to come out. Maybe you came up for air, and then you just like right back into it, dude. You pulled a Seth. You pulled a Seth, dude. He's like, nope.
Make him proud.
You're welcome.
All right, starting off the synopsis as always. 25 years after a streak of brutal murders shocked the quiet town of Woodsboro, California, a new killer dons the Ghostface mask and begins targeting a group of teenagers to resurrect secrets from the town's deadly past. That's a long one.
Yeah. I actually think that's my favorite synopsis
from all the Scream movies,
other than the first one.
Yeah,
like the other ones, like they kind of just like threw Sydney in there, remember, like and like randomly. But in this one, they don't even mention any of the past characters.
That's true. That's true. Which one was it? Was it Sydney visits Hollywood? Was it Scream 3? And it was something about visiting Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? She doesn't visit Hollywood. She goes there because of what's going on.
Technically, she visits it. I mean,
yeah, but
technically,
it's a shitty synopsis.
I think you guys complained about every synopsis except for the first one.
We did, because they're all fucking stupid synopsis.
Yeah.
Synopsi. And I agree that with Brooke, I think this is the most accurate one to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
This movie was directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette, or Radio Silence, as they also go by.
Fantastic.
Did not know that.
Yeah, there's a third guy that's in there to create the whole Radio Silence, but these two guys are in it. They've directed Ready or Not, Devil's Due, a segment in Southbound, and a segment or two segments, I think, in VHS. And then they're obviously doing Scream 6, which is coming out next year. Next year? Do we know when? Do they have a date yet?
Yeah, March, I think.
Is it March? Maybe that's why I thought this one was March.
Well, Brooks, right? I think it was January because they sent out the release date for it, and everybody was like, "Oh man, it's like January is the month that every horror movie goes to die." Like,
yeah,
shitty. They automatically put it in January because they know it's gonna flop.
Not this one.
Fuck no, not this one. This is a good movie.
Fuck. All right, moving on to the cast. As always, we have our original three, David Arquette, Neve Campbell, and Courtney Cox, and all of her plastic surgery.
Yeah.
We also get a new round of actors and actresses, starting with Melissa Barrera, who plays Sam. She is in The Heights, Vida, and All the World is Sleeping, as well as a bunch of, I think it's Spanish movies and TV shows. None of which I've heard of. Next up is our girl, Jenna Ortega, who plays Tara. She's in The Fallout, The Babysitter Killer Queen, You, X, Wednesday, American Carnage, and Jane the Virgin.
Nice. Quickly, I just noticed, because I wanted to see if she was going to be in the Scream 6, and they have the title for Scream 6, I guess.
All I saw was Scream 6.
Yeah, in hers it has Scream with 2 exclamation points for 2023.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
That's what they're going with, you think?
That's what's been on all of the production paperwork, and all of the backs of their chairs all say Scream with 2 exclamation points.
I hope they change that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to call it Scream 2.
Yeah. Well, it's a requel, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the only franchise that can pull something like that off. This
we'll go all the way up to Scream 4 again, but
yeah,
new franchise.
I wish they would have kept 5 as Scream, but with the 5 and as the S, 5 Cream. I think that's brilliant.
5 Cream,
yeah.
Next up is Jack Quaid, who plays Richie. He's in The Hunger Games, Logan Lucky, The Boys, Star Trek Lower Decks, Batman, The Long Halloween, and Rampage. Someone was going to say something. No?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard someone start to talk. My bad.
Just
Is he
The Boys is fucking great.
Yes, it is. And he's great in The Boys.
Yeah.
Is he related to Dennis or Randy Quaid?
Yeah, he's he's one of the sons. Yeah.
Which one's son?
Dennis Quaid, his son.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
And who's his mom? His mom's somebody else famous, isn't she? Maybe, maybe not.
I don't know.
Sure, yeah.
Isn't it the blonde-haired gal?
So there's only one of them.
Okay, that's enough of that. Meg Ryan.
Really?
Oh shit! Yeah.
Really?
Yes, dumbass.
I didn't even know that Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan were together.
Look how serious my face is right now.
Like, you're very serious. I can see all your forehead wrinkles.
Yeah, that's like the time that I said that Maya Hawke was Ethan Hawke's daughter, and somebody fucking wrote me a big goddamn story about how I left out Uma Thurman because I'm sexist. You know that's Uma Thurman's daughter too. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
She doesn't have her name. She's not Maya Thurman.
Yeah, she's not Maya. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That never happened. I made all that up.
I'm not surprised.
No, but somebody did actually write to me and tell me that I forgot.
Oh.
They weren't mean about it.
So
they
you
actually,
didn't. Oh.
Now they're going to write you again and be like, how dare you go on a podcast on Elm Street?
Probably.
Talk shit about me without saying my name.
I don't remember who it was. That's how much I cared. That Maya Hawke is Uma Thurman's daughter. I don't care.
She's also Ethan Hawke's daughter.
I care about that.
All right. Next up, I have Mikey Madison, who plays Amber. She's in Better Things, Monster, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. While watching this movie, she looks so familiar to me, but I haven't seen anything that she's in.
Is it because you've watched this so many times?
Well, maybe, but like even still, like she just looks like an actress I've seen in something else, like as a younger version of herself.
You know what she does? She looks like what's that girl's name? She was on like Disney shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like Selena Gomez?
No, I know who you're talking about though.
She's I'm trying to think of something she was in.
Oh man. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking
She got
about.
like freckles?
Yeah.
And curly hair.
No, you lost me at curly hair.
Not curly hair. What was she in?
Oh, it's really going to bother me. Yeah. I know who you're talking about, though. Not a very big honorable mention list for this one because this is like the first movie in the franchise where they didn't jam it packed full of celebrity cameos. I have Dylan Minnette, who plays Wes, and then I have CGI Skeet Ulrich.
Okay.
That was actually him.
Yeah, but he was CGI'd.
Somewhere.
No, it was him.
CGI'd.
It was him.
He was in the special features, dude. I watched it.
No, I know it's him, but I mean, like, they CGI'd his face to make him look like he did back then.
I don't know. He still looked just the fucking same in the special features to me, with his bloody shirt and stuff.
I swear they CGI'd him to make him look younger.
I think they did. But it was him. He did act in it. And he did
yeah.
They definitely altered his face. Yes, I agree.
Like they did with Finn Wolfhard in Stranger Things 4.
Yes. I just want to go back real quick. You're probably sick of me doing this, but you can always cut me off and never let me finish my thoughts, Mark. So I just want to say, every time I watch this movie, and I've already texted you guys about this, I got to give a chef's kiss to Amber because I like her more and more every single time I watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, mwah.
She is good. Very good.
Yes.
Who else did you have for an honorable mention, Brooke?
So I had Jasmine Savoy Brown, who plays Mindy. And she was in Yellow Jackets, which came out earlier this year, I think.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah. She also did the voice in Spider-Man Miles Morales, the video game. And I swear I've seen her in something else, but maybe not. And then the other one is the guy that plays Vince, Kyle Gallner. He was actually in Smile. And
Oh,
I'm
is
pretty
he?
sure he was in Jennifer's Body, I think, right?
Mm,
That I'm not sure. He is in the show The Outsiders, though, which had like 2 seasons on WGN and was fantastic before they canceled it because they're stupid.
Hmm.
He was great, dude. He was like a hillbilly that lived in the hills of Kentucky. As you know, I'm a
nice.
big fan of that kind of stuff. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
awesome in it. Great.
Oh, and he was on A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, the remake?
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah, he was in Jennifer's Body. He was like the emo guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He reminds me of someone else too.
Morgan Wallen.
No,
That's what he looks like.
maybe. I don't pay that much attention to him.
To him or Morgan Wallen?
Morgan Wallen, I mean.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was also looking too, like there's a whole bunch of uncredited cast members. Like Matthew Lillard's in it. He's his voice is in it or something. Drew Barrymore voices the principal. And there was a few other ones too. I can't remember who they were. I didn't write them down, but I thought that was kind of cool that they brought back some of the old ones.
I wasn't Matthew Lillard on set at the same time Skeet Ulrich was on set because they were trying to like trick people into thinking the Stew was also going to be in this movie. Or
Oh, really?
I think they were doing something to where people didn't know Billy was going to be in it. If I remember correctly, because I think they were both on set at one point together.
That would fuck people up.
Yeah.
Surprised
sure.
Preston go ape shit over that.
But Jasmine Savoy Brown is also fantastic in Yellow Jackets. We did an episode on it. I forget how long ago, but that series is so good.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, they did such a great job of syncing up, like picking actresses that are look like the younger ones and the older ones. They did such a great job of like picking people to play the different versions. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta watch it. All right. Well, if we don't have anybody else, let's start talking about this movie.
Let's do it. So this is my second time watching it. I know you guys have watched it a lot. I know Josh has watched it quite a bit.
This is only my third time watching it.
Oh, okay. Josh, do you think this will ever surpass the original Scream watches at this rate?
Watches? Ooh, It'd be tough. It would be really, really tough. But I've watched it 8 times, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it twice in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you saw it 6 times whenever it first came out. 5 times.
5, and then this one.
And you did this one.
Yeah, so I think this is 8. Yeah, that's 8, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My math ain't mathing. Yeah, 8. So I've seen it 8 times. Every time I watch it, I like it more, honestly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like the Scream franchise kind of does that, though.
Yeah.
Except maybe like a couple of them, maybe, but.
Yeah. I just did a watch through of the whole franchise. Like, actually, I think it was, it was last year because it was before 5 came out.
Yeah.
And like, I was looking forward to rewatching the whole franchise again this year for this. And like,
yeah, me too.
It could easily be a yearly thing and I would not be upset with it.
I watch them all at least once a year, probably more.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like doing something around the house and want to throw a movie on, I'll throw one of the Screams on, and it doesn't really matter which one it is. Honestly, next to the first one, the one I've probably watched the most is the third one.
Okay.
Interesting.
But that's like, I remember like that one for some reason, my circle of friends was the one we watched a ton. I think it was just because of the age we were at when it came out.
Yeah.
But we watched that movie all the time. So it has its soft place in my heart, even though I know a lot of people don't like it, Chuck.
Yeah. So starting with the opening scene, a different scene than all the other ones because Tara ends up surviving the girl in the beginning. What do you guys think of this opening scene?
I loved it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, well, Josh, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say that they changed up the formula, but it's arguably the most brutal opening scene of any. And then on like you see him break her leg.
Yeah.
I forget how many times she gets stabbed through the hand.
Yeah.
And it's like normally that person would be dead, right? But then you see like in the aftermath that she's not dead, and it's like arguably one of the most brutal scenes in the openings, and then they change it, and I think for the better. And I think, like Brooke said earlier, Scream is probably one of the only franchises that could get away with making such a change and people not complaining too much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and like this is before we know like the path that the movie's taking, like with this whole requel theory thing. So I mean, it stays true enough to the original, but it also changes it to make it its own sort of continuation franchise.
Mhm.
But the one thing I really like about it too is like, because this movie came out before we saw the Fallout and before we saw X. So this really, and no, the Babysitter Killer Queen came out last year, I think. But I mean, you didn't really see Janet Ortega act to this value until we saw her in this opening scene in Scream. And this really showed what she's capable of in horror.
Yeah.
Like the Fallout's not horror, but like that's probably like one of her peak performances for me personally, just in a dramatic approach. But yeah, this one, like this took her out of the child actress that she was in You and like catapulted her into like, holy shit, like this chick's gonna go places.
Yeah, I agree. And her performance in this opening scene is because the scene is so well written, in my opinion. Again, I'm completely biased, so get over it. But like, it's so well written and it's so in tune with Drew Barrymore's opening scene. It was almost a ripoff of it while incorporating what's going on in today's horror. Because in '96, when that came out, they again talk about Jason and Freddy and Michael, and in most instances, people of that age that Jenna Ortega is supposed to be in this movie are not probably into the Jasons, the Michaels, the Freddys, or maybe even the Ghostfaces. That they're into the Babadook, they're into the Witch, and she brings up all those movies. And I thought that the way it was written and the way it was delivered was so well done on both parts, because that could have been a really cringy scene, not done well.
Yeah. She kind of had like a Sydney Prescott vibe, like the fact that Sydney hates scary movies, and then you have Tara, who's like younger and basically knows nothing about the Stab franchise. Like she's asking her about like the Stab trivia. She's like, well, they had really weird haircuts back then. She's like, ask me questions about like Hereditary, and it follows, right? Like it's just a different type of girl.
And it's what everybody says about, not everybody, it's what a lot of people that missed that boat. I think Tawny and I talked about this for Scream. It's like you go back and watch it now, and they dress different. They dress from the '90s. Their hairstyles are weird. Some of the things they say, you almost can't like take it seriously. It's like kind of laughable, right? And she kind of brings that up. They're like, why would I watch that? It's everything that people say about Scream is what she says in that scene. And I think it could have been very cringily delivered, but she does excellent, I think.
Yeah.
I love the incorporation of this day's technology too. Like she's locking the doors with her phone, and Ghostface has, I don't know if he's cloned her phone or what it is, but he's able to unlock the door at the same time that she's locking it.
Yeah.
And there's like this split second where it takes her a little bit longer to lock it. And I don't know if Ghostface is already in the house at that point, but like you can assume that that's kind of where he takes that opportunity to get in there. But yeah, I don't know. The incorporation of the technology is effective as well. And I love like, because you don't see houses with landlines very often in 2022. So right, I thought it was kind of funny that there's a fucking landline phone in their house.
Yeah, Scream's always done a great job of incorporating the current technology for the movie. And when you think about when we realize who the killer is, it makes sense that they had probably access to the house codes and how to, you know what I mean? Like thinking of who it was and how close they were. Like she probably had access to it.
And I like how when he was asking like the questions to her, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but he actually asked like 3 or 4 questions, because like the third question, he's like, okay, question 2, but it was actually question number 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't catch it.
Yeah. Because the first question he asks was, who's Sidney Prescott, whatever. Then the
Doesn't
second
he
one,
ask her who the stupid bitch that answers the phone in the first movie is?
yeah, I think so.
And she's
Yeah.
like, fuck you, which I also love that she like goes right back at him the whole time.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I think this is the scariest Ghostface for me
Mm.
in any of the franchises or any of the
Yeah.
other movies. I think maybe just the way it was shot too, like the scene where she's crawling away and he's about to break her leg, and like
Mhm.
he just turns around and you see like it looked like a different Ghostface to me, even though like I know it's not different, but just his outfit looks so good, and like just music and like kind of the darkness behind him, just like I thought it was amazing.
Agreed. I think it says a lot about the directors, the Radio Silence guys. I think they did a lot of that in Ready or Not, like the scenery, because you have Samara Weaving in her freaking wedding dress, and that scene is iconic, where her wedding dress is ripped, it's bloody, and she has her chucks on. Like I think they're really good at capturing those moments and scenes, and you see it in the first opening act when you see Ghostface. That scene, it was in all the trailers. But
Yeah.
he's like, because I think she kicks him or something, and he like
Yeah.
falls over. But when he stands up and he's turning, you like see the mask, and you see like this theoretically is a different kind of Ghostface, right? Because you see all that later, that he's definitely way different from the other ones.
Mhm. And they're watching 4K, so that probably helped too, I guess, right?
Of course.
And I like how like you see a lot of this in the trailer, but I felt like it didn't take away from it at all.
I think they released the entire opening scene, didn't they? Before
pretty
you could
close.
watch.
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't know that she survives. Of course, my detective work, Seth and I sat down and did an episode, went frame by frame of the trailer. I figured out she was alive because of the wheelchair clip in the trailer. But yeah, no, that's I think they showed the whole opening scene, which again, another testament to Jenna Ortega is, could you imagine being the person that they're rebooting this franchise and you are basically the new Drew Barrymore and you have to live up to that expectation? Because they didn't really go back to that until this movie. Yeah, you had Scream 2 was the movie theater, Scream 3 was Cotton, Scream 4 was the bait and switch with all the different ones. But like this is like organic. They went right back to that first formula, and they're to this young actor, like, here, good luck.
Yeah.
And then survive it and then have to go out and do the rest of the movie too. Like it's not just like a 1-day shot where you're there for one maybe 5-minute scene and then that's it.
Dude, her face, she is such a good face actress, because there's a scene, I'm sure we'll get to it, but she's in the closet and Sam looks at her because she's been put in her head that maybe Tara, right? Why am I? Yeah, that maybe she is in on it, and like her eyes, she looks so sad that her sister would think she was doing this, and she doesn't say anything because her mouth is taped. So it's like, again, like just the facial expression she makes, which is, I'm assuming, why that picture of her is the big picture from X, is her screaming. She's not even the main character in X, and well, the thing everybody remembers is her crying, screaming.
Yeah,
that's something that I was going to bring up. Like on our YouTube channel, I made up a video of like the top 5 like queens of Scream. I didn't name it Scream Queens because like that just, I don't know, it has the implication of like whatever. Regardless, she's on that list, and I was going through like different clips of her just like screaming, and like the lead up to everything that she does, like in X specifically. I'll bring that up because you already did. The way that her like mouth goes and like her eyes, like she has like so much facial control with what she does. It's insane. Like I don't know, she's going to be a fucking iconic horror actress, I think.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm even more excited to see Wednesday, because a lot of what Wednesday does is facial expressions.
Yeah. So in this scene, do you guys think it's like Richie for sure in this scene?
Yeah.
Because the Amber's like doing her makeup, or do you think there's a possibility that like they filmed that before or something, or do you think it is Richie in this scene?
I think it is Richie, but I do think that they filmed it before, because like, are they neighbors? Maybe are they direct neighbors?
I don't think so.
Because like it would have to be pre-recorded, right?
No, because Amber lives in Stu's house, and that's way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So could
So-
it be? I thought it was pre-recorded.
I think
for
it
some
has to
reason,
be.
I was thinking this was Amber, that Richie wasn't even there, but maybe because he's so far away with.
Oh yeah, because he's in Modesto. That's true. Yeah.
That is true. But like you can hear him grunt whenever he stomps down on her leg, and
But
it's
the voice changer box is built into their
That's
map,
true.
which is fucking sick. By the way, when they hit that and it goes, "Pew."
Yeah, I like how
Yeah.
they show that in the one scene that we'll get to later. You actually
Mhm.
see like the red light turn.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
I could see either one of them being in this, but it makes sense that it's Amber because like she is fucking crazy and nuts, and so is Richie too. But I don't know.
Because that was a question that I had. Like I have it typed out here. Like how far out of town are Sam and Richie? Like how far is Modesto from Woodsboro? Because it just seems like a very long trek to do the attack on Tara. Because I assumed it was him because of that grunting sound. But yeah, I guess if they have the voice changer built into the mask, that would make more sense.
Mhm.
But I don't know. This Ghostface seemed big. Like it seemed like a tall person, and Amber's not that tall. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like put that in the back of my head because like the Dewey scene,
Mhm.
like it didn't seem like that could be Amber, but clearly it was
Yeah, that's fair.
because they have a different actor like in the actual costume, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how far Woodsboro, because Woodsboro's not real, so I don't know. But Modesto is. I think that's where the Porcelain Peak guys live.
Yeah. And I think it's like SoCal, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It does. There's no explanation, but yeah, I was under the assumption that that was pre-recorded
Mhm.
and that it wasn't like a FaceTime. I think that the Ghostface just sent the video to Tara, and then I thought it was Amber myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it comes through as a file. Like it doesn't come through as a live stream or anything like that.
Yeah, but he tries to make it sound because he's like, I can go in there and kill her anytime I want. It's like,
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah.
video. Like you could have recorded that anytime.
Yeah.
But I'm under the impression that was Amber, and especially as brutal as that Ghostface is in that scene. I don't think Richie's that brutal. I think that was
That's
Amber.
true. That's true.
In all honesty, I think the majority of the kills are Amber.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I think it's a Billy and Stu sort of thing all over again, right? Well, actually, no, it'd be the reverse. Because no, what did we? No, yeah, we said it was Billy that did most of the killing in the original, right?
I believe we said that. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
But I think I'm sure we'll talk about all the kills, but we can do our pick thing then. But I'm under the impression a lot of these were Amber.
Mhm. Yeah, because she is like the crazier of the two, and like some of these kills are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It just seems
Yeah.
like it would be more her.
Yeah, because like Richie's doing a lot of like the kind of get people in the right places thing.
Mhm.
Like with the inhaler at the end, like when he says, I
Yeah.
can't believe that fucking worked.
See, I'm under the same impression, Brooke. I'm thinking that Richie is navigating everybody to where he needs them to be,
Mhm.
and then Amber is like picking them off.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add with that opening scene before we move on to something else?
I don't think so.
No, just brilliantly done. I
Mhm.
couldn't have asked for a better opening scene for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. So next day at school, we kind of meet the rest of the gang. Sam, who is her sister, lives in Modesto. She's dating Richie. And then you meet the rest of Tara's friends. Mindy is Chad's sister, who is also Randy's sister's kids,
Yes.
which is
Martha.
it's kind of weird, but
Why
I think
is
it's funny,
why is
though.
it weird, Brooke?
Yeah, why do you think it's weird?
Mm.
I don't know, just another. Oh, shut the fuck up! Just like to get her into the movie. I don't know. Like I get that they're doing like the requel, so like it's everyone connected to people from like the past. So I guess it makes sense.
Mhm.
I love Mindy. Mindy Meeks might be one of my top 3 favorite characters in Scream.
Really?
I think that with Jasmine Savoy, how you say her name? Does anybody remember?
No idea.
That actress does such a good job of taking everything that Randy did and everything that engulfed Randy and making it not annoying.
Yeah. Well, Kirby did it too, right? Like,
I think Kirby tried, not to this extent, but she was definitely supposed to be that character. But like Mindy, I think Mindy is fantastic through the entire movie.
Yeah. I like her too. Yeah. And then Liv is dating Chad, and then Wes is also in the group. So was Wes dating Tara, or did they have like background?
Wes has a crush on her.
Yeah,
but they're never dating.
He wants to date Tara, but I get the gist that Amber may or may not be obsessed with Tara and kind of cock blocked him a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we see that a lot, right? Like she cock blocks him, and I think it's Chad that even brings it up. He's like, not only are you like saying that no guy's good enough for her, but now you're trying to say her family's not even good enough for her.
Right, because you see it a lot because she's always talking shit about people close to Tara, which is when Sam comes back, and he specifically calls her out for that.
Yeah, and like she's the one that's always like looking after Tara, like, oh, do you have your spare inhaler? Do you need this? Do you need that? Like, yeah, she definitely has some sort of obsession with her, which brings me to a question. Do you think that if the events in the movie didn't happen at the end, do you think she would have killed Tara?
I have an entirely different theory of where this whole thing's going, and I don't know that it's true or false, or if I don't have any inside information, but I am not totally convinced that Tara is not in on this whole thing.
I'm not totally convinced that Sam's not either.
There's that also.
Did you see the way that she fucking went nuts on Richie?
Well, yeah, but
she did say like, "Hey, don't mess with a serial killer's daughter."
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I think Scream 6 is going to be interesting to see where this character arc goes.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think it's going to be very interesting. But I think she would have killed Tara. I don't know, because I think she loved Tara, to be honest with you. I don't know if she would have or not.
Well, and this initial attack at the beginning, like, I don't think they ever wanted to kill Tara.
Correct.
I think it was a perfect ploy to get Sam back into town and have Richie, or have an excuse for Richie to get into town as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're fighting fire with that attack. Like, that could have easily killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they stabbed her in the stomach, or the side, like how many times? Like that definitely. But either way, when you think about it, even if Tara had died, Sam still would have had to have came home.
That's true.
Which is why I'm always like, why did they keep her alive? Yeah, you wouldn't have to keep her alive to get Sam to come home. If you had killed her, Sam definitely would have come home. And probably brought Richie with her.
Yeah.
You also kind of sort of meet this punk kid named Vince, who I think had history with, or was like trying to hook up with Liv, I think, or something. Is it Liv? Yeah.
Yeah. They hooked up the summer previously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I love this scene because it's like, this is such an homage to the original, like where they're all sitting around talking about Casey and Steve's death and everything like that. Like, it's so reminiscent of that. Like, it's almost like a shot for shot remake in a sense.
Don't you get the feeling though that these kids are actually friends versus that first Scream movie where that fountain scene was a little wonky?
Yeah.
I get the vibe that I get a better feeling of these people are actually friends in like an actual friend circle than in the original. Not that the shit on the original, it's just that I just think this one did a really great job of making them all seem like Wes was really concerned about Tara. Mindy and Chad are brother and sister, and he's dating Liv. And I thought Chad was pretty funny. He had that stupid Hobbs and Shaw line when he was fucking with the Vince guy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I agree. I really like that scene too.
And yeah, like you said, I completely agree that this does actually seem like a solid friend circle and like a legitimate friend circle. Like, it seems like they're the type that would just kind of like fucking hang out, rent horror movies or rent movies, period, and just kind of chill and spend a night watching them, kind of thing. Like they all seem like movie buffs, except for Chad, I guess. Like he's kind of off on his own little thing, but they're all kind of talking horror movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does Chad not remind you of Ryan Felipe?
I don't think so.
The next time you watch this movie, watch it and think of Ryan Felipe when he talks or his mannerism. Dude, he acts and sounds just like him.
Okay. Maybe.
I'll keep that in mind.
Do you guys, because in this scene, the scene ends with all of them going to the hospital to see Tara because she wakes up. Mm-hmm. Wes gets a text saying that she's awake. They all go except for Liv. Do you think that Liv hooked up with Vince after this scene? Because she looks over to Vince's car and she's like, I can't really go. Like, you guys go ahead though. And like as the camera pans out, Vince's car is still parked over there.
Yeah, I don't know. That never occurred to me that she did hook up with him. I thought she was dealing with something with him, but maybe they hooked up. That would make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense as to why he goes to the bar later on with them. Or not with them, but shows up.
I have problems with that scene too. These are high school kids, are they not?
Yes.
So how are they in a bar?
They're not drinking. They're drinking soda. They make it a point to like show that they all have like pop, but they're there playing pool.
Yeah, I did that as a teen.
Yeah, but like I guess Woodsboro's not very big. So I'm thinking like, yeah, we did that too. But like I grew up in a town with like 1,500 people in it, so everybody knew everybody, right? But I guess Woodsboro's kind of the same deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So this first real kill we get of Vince, I thought really set the tone of the movie as well, of how these kills are going to be. I love that he's just like pissed and all of a sudden his car starts up and he's like, what the fuck?
What does he say? Is that you, pretty boy? Because he thought it was Chad.
Yes.
Then just like fucking stabs the jugular and just the amount of blood that fucking came out. God damn.
I love this kill. I agree with you that every kill in this movie is amazing, but like Tara's, she doesn't die, but that attack sets the tone. And then you get this where it's like, it's so simple too, right? He just stabs him right in the throat and boom.
Well, it's like, sorry, Brooke, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you notice the Jason tattoo on Vince's arm?
Yeah. Up on his bicep.
Yeah.
Was that your Easter egg?
No, I wasn't. No.
Oh.
I'm very interested to hear what this Easter egg is. But
what were you going to say before
I was gonna. You brought up like how simplistic the kill was, and like Chuck kept talking about this in Scream 4 as well. Like they were fucking brutal in Scream 4, but the kills were also very simplistic at the same time. Like there was nothing really elaborate about the kills. It was just like they were fucking brutal. Like I think we all gave them a very high brutality score. Like it averaged 28 for brutality. So I mean, but that's what I like, the direction that these movies are going with their violence. Like they're very simplistic kills, but very fucking brutal at the same time.
Yeah.
And it sticks to what it like sticks to its guns, right? Like that's a Scream movie. And that's the joke about the movie inside of the movie Stab, is because a lot of people get stabbed a lot of times, and that's what Ghostface does, right? Which is kind of funny because later when you see Richie watching this Stab 8 or whatever, and he's got like a fucking rocket launcher or like a freaking flamethrower. It's like it's a joke within a joke, right? But it is funny because that's not what Ghostface does.
That was Matthew Lillard that played that Ghostface.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember that now.
They have that mask at Spirit Halloween, the red Ghostface mask with the horns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have it right now.
You should buy it.
I was thinking about it, and then I was like, nah.
And then we get our first glimpse of Billy. he's in the car in the back seat with Sam on the way to the hospital, and yeah, it was a nice surprise to see Billy in this movie, I think.
Mhm.
I like it. They introduced this flashback slash like mental vision thing in Scream 3 with Sydney when she
Yeah.
saw her mom, and like, so it's not. I saw some people online complaining about it, but people online complain about everything. But it's like, this isn't new to the Scream franchise. Like, this is, yeah, it may be different because they're bringing back Billy, but like, it's not new. Like, this has happened in the franchise before.
And like, what's so bad about it? Like, spoiler alert, jumping ahead a little bit, but like Billy's her dad.
Yeah.
So like and same within, like you said, in Scream 3, like Sydney saw her mom. Like, what's so bad about having these visions of your parent talking to you?
What I really like about how they handled Billy Loomis in this is that the way they made him, there's a scene where they all go to Mindy's house and they have like a still of Billy on the TV.
Yeah.
It looked like it was from like one of those true crime reality shows. And they tried to make him look similar to that, like from a facial standpoint, because when you think about it, that would have to be the only images that Sam has probably seen of him. So like, I like how they made it make sense to where you could argue that, well, he looks to her the way she's seen him portrayed on television, not how he actually looked. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sam is at the hospital with Tara and kind of tells her everything that she knows, and Tara kind of flips a gasket on her and tells her to get the fuck out. And this is what I kind of picked up on. I thought I was fucking, Mr. Detective here. So I was watching the movie. She gets the phone call. I noticed on the cell phone it said maybe Amber. And I went ahead, I paused it. I was like, what the fuck? I swear I saw something. So I rewinded it and I paused it and I saw maybe Amber. So I was like, oh shit. Like, even says in the movie that it's Amber. But then like after whenever everyone comes in, they're like, she's like, oh, and my phone was cloned or whatever like that. So they do bring it up, but I thought I caught something there.
That would have been a good catch though.
But it's like, how, like, is Sam kind of, like, not dumb for not like kind of, because she thinks everyone is the killer, I guess, right? Like anyone can be the killer. So like she kind of lets them go off very easily, right? Like neither Richie or Amber have good alibis at all of where they were.
Well, Amber does, and that's something that I bring up. Like, if we're talking about the attack on Sam in the hospital, like Amber was with Sheriff Hicks for questioning. So that attack in the hospital had to have been Richie.
Yes, 100%.
Who was watching Netflix in the room.
Yeah.
But that brings up a burning question that I have, is like, he's talking to her on the phone and he's hiding behind the door in the same room that she's in. How does she not hear him talking?
Where'd the phone go?
Or that?
That was my big question about that scene. I also kind of, in my head, I'm thinking, wouldn't they have cameras at the hospital to see, like, in there? Maybe not in the break room. I don't know. But with all that's going on in her head, did that even happen?
That's a possibility.
Good point, actually.
Because she is having visions of Billy. So like,
she has a vision of Billy right then. That's when you see him in the mirror. I think that's the first time you see him. She's in the hospital break room talking to herself.
Yeah.
He's in the mirror talking to her, and then she gets attacked. But there's no phone. There's no, like, for Ghostface, because how he's got the knife in his hand and then he attacks her. I don't think he has a phone in his other hand. But she would theoretically have heard him talking behind the door, right?
That was like what I brought up. But maybe he has an earpiece, like a wireless Bluetooth.
That's like Bluetooth headphone. Yeah, that's true.
So then he has both hands while he's talking on the phone.
Or he may have it built into the voice box too. I guess you could theoretically say that.
But that still leaves the question of, how does she not hear him talking on the phone?
Because she doesn't hear him until he opens the door, right? And that's when he says, what's he say? Show
with pleasure or something.
Pleasure, that's what it is.
She says, "Come and say it to my face" or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Maybe it doesn't actually happen.
That's kind of where I was at with that one. It's like, did that really happen? Because how did he get out of there and back to the room? And like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, now Sam and Richie go and visit our good old pal Dewey.
Poor old
And
Dewey.
he's not doing too well, you know. I don't think he's sheriff anymore, obviously, because Judy's sheriff, but
Yeah.
he's living in a trailer, watching Gail on New York World News, and
He's a raging alcoholic.
yeah. And they want to get him back there to help them, and he doesn't really want to. He just kind of tells them everything that anyone says in these movies, like, oh, we got to do this. Number one rule is this, and basically it's like grilling Richie, like right there, and Richie's getting so pissed. He's like, well, how could it be this and blah blah blah, and I just love their interaction there.
But he calls it right in that moment.
Immediately figures it out. Even Richie says that later. He was like, fucking Dewey got it in the first try.
And I love how Dewey kind of makes fun of his little limp that he has. So he's like, I even had like a fun little limp.
Right, because everybody taught you guys bitched about it for 30 minutes on one episode. I remember listening to it, and I was like,
because it was ridiculous.
But he makes fun of it like it's in the script, right? They're like, he's like, you've been stabbed like 9 times.
Yeah.
But I think this is my favorite Dewey.
I like him.
Yeah, me too. I agree, actually.
This is like we saw child Dewey, and then we saw him kind of progress into an adult throughout, and then he kind of regressed a little bit in one of the movies, and now this is full blown adult Dewey, like no bullshit anymore.
Yeah.
Like he's not really cracking jokes. He's just fucking balls to the wall with his points.
But he's still goofy.
Yeah.
Which I like that they kept that aspect of it. But he's like definitely more serious. He's harder. Like this is my favorite portrayal. I think David Arquette did fantastic.
Yeah. And then he calls Sid after they leave, and he tells her she has a kid now, and he tells her, like, whatever you do, don't come back. And she says, I'll never step a foot in that fucking town. And I think the only way that we could have got her back is what happens later on in the movie. Dewey ends up dying. So I think that was the only real way you can get her back, I think.
I think that she is the reason he helped them, because she said, well, Dewey, I'm glad that whoever's going through this has you to protect them. And I think if she had not said that, he would not have helped them, ultimately causing his death.
Yeah.
I love her one line too. And he's like, do you have a gun? And she's like, I'm Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's just like really badass in that line.
Yeah.
And then the poor bastard turns around and texts Gail.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh man, like that is such a cringy text. And
he even shouldn't have sent the emoji.
He even calls himself out after he sent it.
So good. And then one of my favorite scenes in the movie too is whenever Dewey comes with them, with Sam and Richie, and they'll go to the friends that are basically having this like meeting to figure out who the killer is. It's so good. They have like all the stab movies in the background, and this is where like Mindy really shines, I think. And she's like explaining what the requel is, and then Liv like tries to speak up for the like you don't know shit about horror movies or something.
Yeah. I love the shrine to Randy in there too.
It's so good, dude. Randy Meek's home theater, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's so good.
The painting of him above the mantle, and
dude, this scene is also really well done because it's Sam telling everybody everything, basically, who her dad is. I believe this, because this is when you get the shot of Billy on the TV. But then it's like, I wonder, because of something Amber says later, if like they all already knew this because of the comment Amber makes. I'm sure we'll talk about it, but the comment that Amber makes about how it's a small town and people talk.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of these kids or people already suspected that this was the case.
Well, if that theory rings true, then you would assume that Tara already knew too.
Which I don't understand how Amber knew and Tara didn't, which also plays into one of my other theories about the bigger picture of everything, of Tara possibly being involved and whatnot. But regardless, the scene's great. The interaction between Wes and Dewey is so good.
Oh my god, yeah, I love that. Whenever he says Dewey's like, "Oh, you're a suspect too," and he's like, "Well, why?" And he says, "Well, you're divorced, your wife, you sleep in a bottle, and you're not a sheriff anymore." And the Dewey's just like, "Well, I think you're a suspect too, because that cut deep."
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the next scene we meet Officer Judy. We already met her before, but she is Wes's mom, and this kill was pretty brutal as well. Both these kills, but like on an emotional level too, because like she cares so much about, I think, being a mom and also like being the protector. Like I think she's really worked hard to become sheriff, and she's very proud of that. And like, she makes Wes carry on like a stun gun and stuff, and she always asks him like, lock the door after I leave, or like, you got this? And Wes is like, yeah, kids are making fun of me, so of course I got it. And she's like, good.
He pulls out like a taser and a stun gun, like out of it. He's out jogging and he's carrying stuff around with him. That scene was also really great because of all the jump scares that don't happen.
Yeah.
Like it was almost annoying to the point you're like, damn it, when's it going to happen?
He's opening up the fridge door, and then he opens up like the cupboard door, and you just expect something's going to happen, and then it never does.
Yeah. That Sheriff Judy kill is so good though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the daytime, like right on her front fucking step, and fuck, it's brutal.
It's also like a red herring because of how brutal that kill is. And then you saw, like, I don't know, 15 minutes earlier, Sam and Sheriff Hicks, Judy, like getting into it at the hospital because Judy basically tells her she doesn't know why she's back. They had all these problems with her before, and she should just pack up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam comes back in the room. She's like, wow, she's pleasant as ever. Interpreting that they've had issues in the past, but then just the way this Ghostface kills her, it's like, wow, that may be Tara or Sam, getting her back for how shitty she treated her.
I think too, like this whole scene, because like we see Deputy or Sheriff Hicks now, but like even in Scream 4 and leading into this one, she, like you said, she cares so much about being a police officer and doing well and being like the best law enforcement officer that she can be. But then when it comes to her kid, she throws all that out the window, and she just like, she loses all of that like caution, I guess, that comes with being a police officer. And she just booking it up to her front porch. Doesn't like she doesn't carry a gun around when she's a mom or anything like that. Like it's like when she's in her uniform, she's a cop. When she's at home, she's a mom. And like, that's all, like she separates it a lot. Because like in a situation like this, like you would assume that her being a cop, she'd have a gun on her and she would like go up to the house slowly, not fucking fly up to the front step.
I think it'd be different because it's her kid, right?
That's what I mean, right? Like
I don't know, she's talking to Ghostface on the way, and like that like mom like instinct kicks in, like not the cop one, right? So like
that's what I mean though. Like that's what I like about this scene is like she forgets that she's a cop and she's just in mom mode right now.
Well, I think Ghostface knows that. They knows that aspect of her, right? So they totally played into getting her off guard, catching her when she's got her guard down, and that's how they ultimately kill her.
Yeah.
So they use that against her, right?
Yeah.
And Wes's kill was fucking brutal too.
Oh man.
So terrible.
I remember watching that on the big screen. Well, Brooke, you and I went together, and I was just like, "Oh my fucking god, that's brutal."
That was nasty. Yeah,
so good. But back to like back to the directing. I talked about it in that opening scene. Back to like the kills, because normally Wes Craven cuts away from that stuff. You see Ghostface kill somebody, cuts away, or the knife thing, I guess, occasionally. But generally, the kill cut. With these kills, they linger. Yeah, which I really like.
Yeah, it's just like he puts it into his neck. Like in the side. Like he doesn't like put it in his throat.
Yeah.
Puts it off to the side, and I'm assume severs that artery that's in the side of your neck, and just like slowly pushes it through, and then you see it come out the other side.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
And I also like when Ghostface on the phone with Deputy Hicks or Sheriff Hicks, whatever, and Wes is getting in the shower. And she, Ghostface I forget how it gets brought up. But he's like, "Have you ever seen the movie Psycho?" And it cuts, and it's the shower head with the water coming down. Just like from the movie Psycho. I was like, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah. And then we get outside, and Gail is there, and it's all her plastic surgery and red suit, and she sees Dewey and immediately just punches him in the arm because she's like, "A text, a fucking text."
I do like that they give the explanation because this is the only movie where Gail didn't leave. Dewey left her because he said he couldn't hack it. But I found it extremely interesting that she made a good point, right? She was like, "I moved back to Woodsboro for you to be sheriff, and this was my time."
Yeah.
And did he say I didn't even last a week or 2 weeks? I forget what he says, but
it wasn't long, no.
Like he's equally as embarrassed about how that ended up and what he did, and like I could see why Dewey ended up where he did. It makes total sense based on how it all happened.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, you feel sorry for him in the scene too, because she brings up him being a cop, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not a cop anymore." And she's like, "Since when?" He's like, "Since I retired." And then he said, "Well, since they made me retire."
Yeah.
So like he's literally lost everything in his life. So you can really understand the path that he's taken. Like he's lost Gail, and then he lost the police force. Like he was sheriff in the last movie. And we know throughout the whole franchise that he lives to protect people. Like I brought it up in Scream 4. Like in Scream, he was a deputy. In Scream 2, he was like Sid's bodyguard kind of thing. And then in Scream 3, he was on set. He was security on set. And then in Scream 4, he was a sheriff.
Yeah.
And now in this one, he's being forced to retire and just has to live on his own.
He's just broken, mentally and physically broken in this movie.
Yeah.
I love that we see the Dead Meat podcast in this too.
Yeah.
So jealous, man. That's so sick. And then Sam realizes that Tara's in trouble at the hospital and she's going to go. And then poor old Dewey, he's like, "I'll go with you." And it's like, "Don't do it, Dewey."
When you see him pick right there, right, he can stay with Gail and talk to her and try to, get that going again. And then he goes and ultimately goes to help protect Sam, right? That's who he is. He can't help it.
Yeah. And I guess we'll get into one of the most depressing scenes of the whole franchise. Poor old Dewey gets it.
On your first watches, did you guys think that he was actually gonna die?
100% yes. I remember being in the theater and the scene happens where he shoots Ghostface, I think 6 times. And I said, he's not going to shoot him in the head. And the Ghostface falls back against that glass thing and goes down. They get in the elevator. And then he says, he's like, "Head." And Sam's like, "What?" He's like, "You got to shoot him in the head or they come back."
Yeah.
She's like, "Who cares?" And he's like, "I do." And that's when he walks out and drops the shells. And I looked at Abby and I was like, he's going to fucking die.
Yeah. It was a good scene, like setting up even like it plays it off that Richie, can't be the killer because, he ends up getting attacked by Ghostface, stabbed in the arm. And then he's helping, who is he helping out? Tara, I guess, from the room.
Yeah, because then she hit him in the face with something. He walks in and she hits him in the face
with the little stand-up thing or whatever. Yeah, they're making their way, and then they kind of fight, and Dewey shoots Ghostface, like you said, 6 times, and then they're leaving, and then they get the scene where he's like, "Can't go," and the elevator closes on his face, and you're like, "Shit!" And then walking slowly, shells, and his death is brutal as fuck too.
Mhm.
So good, dude. It's so well done.
Just the fucking double knife, and then like just to add it to icing on the cake, just like slides the knives up, and you just hear it and feel Dewey's pain, and it's like, oh fuck.
Dude, I love it so much. Like two things in this scene. The first is back to when Ghostface kills Deputy or Sheriff Judy. You see Ghostface, I'm assuming it's Amber, but like stabs down and she stops it, and then she uses her other hand to slam the knife down into her and kill her. She tries to do this again to Dewey, but Dewey's obviously stronger than her, so is able to stop it. But you see, that's like Amber's thing. She uses the double stab, and because she's smaller, she has to do that. I think she even made do it to Wes, isn't that how she gets Wes against the door?
Yeah.
Like that's Amber's, like that's her signature thing in the show, and you see her do it there. The other thing is a lot of people complaining that Amber couldn't pick Dewey up. Well, if you watch it in real time, even if you slow it down, she never picks Dewey up. You see him actually fall down. She's holding him up, and in my opinion, the knives slide up so easily because A, they're fucking hunting knives, and B, he's falling down. You see his feet. He's like falling to the ground when she slides those knives up. And I love that she stabs him in the front where he got stabbed, and then again in the back where he was also stabbed, and then just freaking guts him.
Yeah.
And he fucking dies because Gail called him.
Yeah, because exactly.
That's
I forgot
true.
to bring that up.
Yeah.
Because he had the gun ready, and then the phone rings.
He looks down, and it's Gail, and that's when Ghostface pops up and stabs him. But my god, yes, today, dude. I love the fucking voice box in the mask so Ghostface can talk.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So where were the three of them going before the whole inhaler thing?
They were leaving
they're just leaving.
They were going to go back to Modesto or whatever.
Yeah, because she says we're going to do what nobody does in these situations. We're going to get the fuck out of Woodsboro.
Yeah. So what do you think the backup plan was that Richie had in case the inhaler thing didn't work?
Well, here's the thing. If you remember the beginning, when they first go see Tara in the hospital and everybody's gonna leave and let Sam stay in there, Amber asks her, "Do you have your backup inhaler?" And she says, "Yes, it's in my bag." So I'm assuming if she didn't bring it up, Richie was gonna maybe be like, "Do you have your inhaler?" And obviously he took it, so she would look and maybe no, she didn't have it, so they would have to go get it, I guess. But
yeah,
I'm assuming that was the plan.
Yeah. Or what if Tara just said, fuck it, I don't need an inhaler now. We'll get one in Modesto or whatever.
Yeah, there's that. But before they even get to that, how about that scene where Sam meets Sydney for the first time, being that Sydney killed her dad. Sydney was with her dad when Billy got her mom pregnant. Like, what a fucking weird meeting that would be. Yeah,
and you see, like, whenever she's waiting with Gail, and Sydney doesn't know who it is, right? And then you see Sam, and Sydney's like, is that her? And like, just has that kind of like motherly vibe to her already, right?
Yeah,
because she knows what she's going through and just immediately like jumps into that. Yeah. Anything else to add, Mark?
No.
All right. He was kind of quiet.
I was worried about you, dude. I thought you were like season up over there.
Man, froze like Brooke.
So now the final party scene in Stu's old house, which I think is fucking sick that they got that back.
Mm-hmm.
It's Amber's house. I love the whole scene in the basement whenever Amber's down there getting beers, and then Mindy comes down and is like, I might be the killer. And then they have like the back and forth, and then like they go upstairs, and like I think Amber's about to go up first, and then she stops. She's like, you go first. And then Mindy's like, good job.
That's one. I think this whole third act is great at Stu's house. I think it's all well acted, and of course is very well written. But like that's one thing about the majority of the Scream movies is that generally they are well acted, but this is no different. Even with like a somewhat cast of like up and comers or people we're not familiar with, like I think they did a great job of delivering all the lines and setting it up to where it really feels like a Scream movie.
Yeah.
And it was written well, like just as well as Kevin Williamson could have done it, and it wasn't him that wrote this. Like, so I think, yeah, everything about this movie is kind of held true to the original, which is great.
Question for you guys: do you think Chad handled the no sex thing the right way, or do you think he could have like maybe worded it better, like instead of like,
terrible.
well, I mean, I don't fully know that you're, not the killer, so
I mean, he was honest.
he was, yeah.
He was, but like this is their first time having sex.
Yeah, so does she want him to be thinking that she's the killer the whole time?
No, but I mean, like, just keep your mouth shut and get it done.
Plus, you just thought she was banging old boy in the parking lot. Like, so what are you doing here? You're flip flopping on me.
Yeah, but
You're
he doesn't know that she was
maybe
doing
he
that.
knew. He knew. He looked there. He's like, "Yep, Morgan
Maybe.
Wallen already got that today."
Well, I guess like the virgins always stay alive in horror movies too, right? So maybe that's what he was going for.
There's that. I still would have took her upstairs. Even if there was a killer, I wouldn't have cared.
Yep.
Yeah. And then they bring back the Find My Fam kind of app that Chad mentions at the beginning of the movie. It's just kind of like a scene to get like technology like incorporated in it. Like it wasn't my favorite kill, or like it wasn't like as tense as I thought they could have made it, but I still think it was an okay scene. And like Amber took a fucking bomb to the head pretty fucking hard in this scene too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was that Chad brought with him.
It was a lamppost or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's like one of those like candlesticks, like a candelabra kind of thing.
Candelabra.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. I'm a hillbilly, I know. I love how she stabs him in the leg though, because that would hurt so bad.
Yeah,
but you're not running away after that.
I think she stabs him in the back too, doesn't? Like, because it doesn't Ghostface come running out of the shed?
Yeah, that's after he's like runs behind the shed, and then he's going up, and then you see the Ghostface just open up the door and like run in, and then he just like turns, he's like, no, wait, just wait. It's like, no, man, you're dead, man.
Oh, I love it.
And then the whole like Mindy scene, this recreating the Randy thing, was just like fucking great, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think even Chad. Oh, I was gonna say even Chad like mentions like whenever she's watching the like that scene, and Chad's like, "Isn't it kind of fucked up that you're watching your uncle like get killed?"
Yes,
that's true.
Wouldn't it have been
yeah.
more iconic if her name wasn't Mindy, but it was Jamie?
That would have been,
because
that might have been too far.
Jamie Kennedy playing Randy, yelling at Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, but it's Jamie, Randy's niece, watching all of this.
That might be too far.
I think I would change Wes's name and then like give Jamie like the like iconic like reference name to her. I think would have been cool. Yeah.
Well, and Sam and Tara's last name is Carpenter too.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. And honestly, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is whenever everyone is in a group together. They're trying to figure out who Ghostface is, and then like Amber has a gun, and then I think Liv. No, it's not Liv. Who does Amber shoot? Is it Liv?
Yeah, it's Liv, because Liv comes back in because she found Chad.
Oh yeah, she didn't die. Yeah.
And she's like, "Why do you have blood all over your hands?" She was like, "I'm not the fucking killer, Mindy." And she's like, "No, you're right. I am." Boom.
So fucking good.
Yeah, it was great.
It's great. That whole scene leading up to that is great too, where like Mindy's like trying to hook up with Frances, the other girl at the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Liv comes back in acting like crazy. And Mindy's like, "What is wrong with you?" And she was like, "I thought I couldn't be the killer." And she's like acting all crazy. And she's like, "What are you looking at?" She's like, "I'm just reassessing my suspect list."
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this end scene. I think it's my favorite apart from the Scream, obviously, the original Scream. Like whenever Amber stumbles outside and Sydney and Gail just arrive, and she's like, "Oh, help me!" And then like they look at each other like, "That's a trap." Yep. And then Amber's just like, "Fuck this," and shoots Gail. So good.
Dude, I love Amber in these final scenes, dude. She is so good.
Would you put her over Emma Roberts?
And you guys know I'm a huge Scream 4 fan. I love that movie, and I love Emma Roberts. But dude, every time I watch this, I like Amber more and more. Like the first time I watched it, and I agree with some people that were complaining, she came off a little annoying. But like the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it and see what she's doing and like how truly psychotic she is. In my opinion, she is the main killer, not Richie.
Yeah.
Like she is the one that is just like doing it, and the way she's able to jump in and out of like sympathetic like scenes. Like she's like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean,
I'm sorry about Dewey.
Yeah. And she's like, fuck you, you killed my best friend. And her eyes, it's all in her face. She like snaps back into psycho mode. She's like, yeah, and he died like a pussy.
She doesn't even like skip a beat.
No, it's so good. And they hit her in the face with the alcohol bottle, and she's like, rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Her hand, it was hand sanitizer.
Hand
sanitizer.
Yeah. I really like Richie in this scene too. I think he's great as well. Just the way that he's like toying and talking with Sam, like the whole like, oh fucking that dumbass Dewey had it figured out like since day one, and just like his lines he says to Sam, I think are great.
Yeah, I think he's also really good because you don't really know it's him because what the fuck's her name? Amber shoots Liv, and then they like all disperse, right? And Richie runs out like immediately, and I think Amber takes Tara. That's when she ties her up or whatever. But then Sydney gets there, and Sydney's just walking through the house shooting closets, and she doesn't give a single solitary shit, dude. She's shooting everything. And even Richie says that when he comes out of the closet, she's like, why were you hiding? And he's like, you're shooting everything. Like, well, of course I'm hiding. She shoots him in the leg. And then the Ghostface, Amber, jumps out and knocks the somebody over the ledge or whatever, and Richie runs down to get the gun, and that's when it's revealed that he's Ghostface. With that, I love the way it's revealed that he's Ghostface, and I love his line where he's like, yeah, I know it sucks, it's me. Because like, everybody was thinking that.
Yeah. It gives me chills when he says that line. And like, he's in the basement too before everything happens, I think, with just Sam, and she has the gun, and he's like still playing that like innocent vibe, and she doesn't know it's him, but she doesn't trust him either. She just leaves him down there, like doesn't take him out or anything like that.
Yeah, and you can tell that what he says to her in that scene resonates because he says, how do you know that Tara's not involved? And then when Sam goes up and she finds Tara in the closet, you don't know at that point if she untied her or not. And that's the scene I was talking about earlier where her eyes just like swell up, and like Jenna Ortega as Tara, her eyes like swell up and she looks like devastated that her sister could even think that it was her, but that's because Richie planted that seed of doubt.
Yeah. And even whenever Richie, when they're all in the kitchen together doing like the standoff, they're explaining like it's their film now, and they met on like a subreddit of the stab, which is sick. Whenever even Richie stabs Sam in the side, and then he like turns the knife like just to add that extra bit of brutality. Like he doesn't give a fuck about her.
Yeah, no, totally. Like, and I have a note somewhere, but like I think these two, Amber and Richie, are it's in my I almost said bully beatdown.
That's a good name for it.
My Villain Faceoff. I have it. I think these two are the best team because when you think about Billy and Stu, Billy is going to put everything on Stu, and he tries to ultimately kill Stu. You look at 2 with Mrs. Loomis and Mickey. She kills Mickey. 3, there's not 2 people. 4, Jill is going try. Does she does kill Charlie, right?
Yeah, she kills him.
Yeah.
These two, I really think they love each other and that they are in this together, and we're never going to turn on each other. Like they're the most connected of all the killers.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think you see it the way they're interacting at the end, like calling each other hun and baby, and
they're like
creepy.
They're like natural born killers.
Yes.
Yeah. And the way that Amber gets, well, you think she gets killed, but when she fucking falls on the oven and then just like
man.
engulfs her. Fucking brutal.
Dude,
That
I
was
love the passing of the torch, right? Because Amber says it's time, or Richie one of them says it's time to pass the torch or whatever, and then that's when she says he gives her the torch, lights her ass on fire.
And like this scene was arguably one of the most brutal scenes in the franchise too, because like we don't see kills like this in the Scream franchise, because like death by fire is slow.
Yeah.
A lot of the kills in the Scream franchise are like quick stabs or like gunshots and shit like that. Like you don't see this, and even like Gail and Sydney's reaction to it, like they're both kind of just standing there and like, oh, like they're almost mortified after everything that they've been through, and this is what like they're like, oh.
But I love that the party is a celebration of life for the character Wes. Ultimately, they, this is to Wes talking, really it's for Wes Craven, right? Because, but then she gets burnt up, and when she comes back later, spoiler alert, she looks like Freddy, and she's like, oh, like burnt up. Like I was like, oh, that's, yeah, it could be misconstrued, but I think I like it a lot. I think it's a great homage to Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Well, Andy always have to have at the end like the shot to the head, right?
Right.
Because Richie just gets the stabbed the fuck up, and I love that scene whenever she's like crawling, she sees Billy again in the mirror, and then she's like kind of like realizes that, there's a knife there, and just stabs the fuck out of him.
Do you like that it's next to the umbrella? Because remember, Sydney stabs him with the umbrella.
Oh, that's true.
Didn't even clue into that.
There's like a bucket of umbrellas right there, and the knife is next to it. And Billy like looks down at it, and like, I don't think he winks at her, but he like basically, hey, there's the knife. But that dude, when she is stabbing Richie, it is so fucking good.
It is, and this is what this scene. I already talked about it, but it makes me think that she might have a little bit more of the killer trait in her, because not only does she stab the fuck out of him like 17 times, when she gets up, she does the whole knife thing. She cleans the blood off the knife, which was a Stu thing, or which was a Billy thing, which has then been a recurring act in all of the other movies.
Right.
But it only ever happens with Ghostface. It's only ever Ghostface that cleans the knife off.
Yeah. And then whenever after she stabs him a bunch and he's like dying, he's like, what about my final movie or something? And she says, oh, here's your final movie. And then or she says, it's coming. And then slices his throat. Yeah.
Which was freaking weird, because you would think she would have done it straight across, but she does it on the side, which I think is worse. But so good, dude. The first stab where she stabs him through the cheek.
Oh yeah,
man, it's brutal.
Well, then she stands up, and Gail says they always come back, and that's when she shoots him like in the freaking chest and the head.
Doesn't even care.
And then Amber comes running out, and I love that Tara is the one that kills Amber.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, does that not make you like change your mind that maybe Tara's not involved?
No, I think that Tara could. This is just life according to Josh, and this is all fan fiction. But I think Tara could be the mastermind behind all of it, in hopes to bring, because her dad's gone because of finding out who Sam's dad was. He left. The mom is an alcoholic that travels for business all the time, and Sam left and isn't there. So essentially, she has nobody. So I think this could have all been a ploy to get Sam to come back to her so that they would be together again. And think about it. She just killed the two people that helped her do it. I don't know that Richie was in on that. I think likely it was Tara and Amber, and Amber recruited Richie. And then now Tara just killed Amber, the only other person that knew what was going on. So now she's all scot-free.
Because they weren't really like sisters, right? Like they were apart from each other for a long time, I think, and didn't have contact with each other. So they weren't even that close.
Yeah, as soon as they said as soon as Sam turned 18, she left. So I don't know how old they are now, but
yeah, I think there was it a 5-year difference? Because I asked Abby that. She's like, I think it's 5 years. So she would have been 13 or something when Sam left. But think about it, because Amber knew who Sam's dad was. All these fucking characters. Amber knew who Sam's dad was Billy Loomis. So who's to say that Amber and Tara weren't hanging out one night and found the letters or whatever and put this whole plan together? And then Tara just offed Amber, and now, I mean, nobody knows. And she got what she wanted because Sam came back. And what really makes me think this is when she's in the ambulance at the end, Tara, and they're getting ready to shut the doors, and she's like, no, wait, Sam. She gets in there, and she's like, I'll hold your hand the whole way. Like, that's she got her motherly sister back.
Yeah. And I think, I was just saying, like, I think you said Amber says early in their film that, like, this is a small town, like, everyone knows everything. So, you know, that kind of hints that maybe Tara might know some shit.
Just my theory. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Maybe that I'll hold your hand through the whole thing is like play on words for the next one. Maybe they're both in it together, and she's gonna walk her through.
I love the kind of comparison of like Richie B and Stu whenever they're about to like do their final plan, their final act, and then she's like, okay, go get Tara, and then he goes to find Tara, and all you hear of is like, she's not here. You know, kind of like the gun scene, like the gun's not here, it's gone, man.
Yeah. Oh, my mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Yeah. I mean, anything else you guys wanted to mention or talk about before we wrap up the discussion?
The only thing I have is the other thing that I could see Sam maybe being involved with this whole thing is that the Officer Judy kill and the Richie kill are eerily similar. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Phil?
Cool.
So do you think Gail dies in 6?
Yep.
No. I don't.
Okay. Did you hear what Chuck's theory is?
Yeah, I'm not happy with Chuck right now.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't know that they'll kill Gail. Maybe. I don't. Okay. Dewey's kill made sense because the only way to get Sydney and Gail back to Woodsboro was to kill Dewey.
Yeah.
So it was an integral part of the story and plot. So his death made sense. I don't see them just killing the legacy characters to kill the legacy characters. Unless Gail's in New York, they kill Gail in New York, and that would bring Sydney to New York. But Sydney's not going to be in this movie. So I don't know why you would kill Gail. I don't see what the purpose of doing it would be, especially if they're going to do it as the opening scene. That just seems stupid to me. I'm sorry.
Maybe Sydney's actually going to be in the movie, and this is all just a big marketing scheme.
I think there is some truth to that. I really do. Think about how much buzz that generated.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And the other thing with that is I don't really mind that Sydney's not coming back for this. I hope she comes back for the last one, but if she doesn't, I don't care. I don't really want Gail to be in this. I think that this was the perfect send-off for these characters. We don't need them back. The franchise doesn't need them to come back to get people to go watch the movie because this one was so good.
Yeah.
Well, and like it's Scream, right? Like people are going to watch it regardless of whether they're in it or not.
Agreed.
This is like there is so many diehard Scream fans in the world that are like horror lovers and non-horror lovers. It doesn't matter. Like people, like I convinced my wife to go and watch this with us in the theaters, and she hates horror movies. And she came and she watched it and she enjoyed it.
Right.
Like this, it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those franchises where people are going to go watch the movie regardless.
Right. And the other thing with the whole Nev Campbell, and I love Nev. I love Sydney as a character. I appreciate everything that Nev's done for this franchise. We don't know what capacity they asked her to be in this movie. Was she just like a phone call? Does Sam call her to ask her a question? Like, we don't know how much screen time she was going to have. We don't know in what capacity they asked her to be in this new film. Like, maybe the amount of money they offered her was on par with the role she was playing in the film. Like, I understand that she holds herself in high regard, and I can appreciate that. And she was demanding more money for what she's brought to the franchise. But at the same time, like, we don't know what they asked her to do. Like, was it just her voice? Was it a phone call? Like, what? I don't know. I think everybody blew that way out of proportion.
Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Well, that's the way the blood splatters.
Cha-ching. How's that wine?
Tasty.
Tasty.
Mine's good too.
Your sparkling water.
Why do you got to call it that, dude? It's soda water. Jeez.
Sparkling water.
Club soda. It's a vodka soda with no vodka.
There you go. Virgin vodka soda.
A vodka-less soda.
All right. Who wants to give the reviews first? Okay, I will. Fuck, if nobody's going to jump at it. I never get to go first anyways. My story, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I said it was a great entry into the Scream franchise. It's currently sitting in 3rd for my on my Scream list, and it could potentially move up a spot, but it's hard for me to move Scream 4 down in the rankings. But Josh, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Every time I watch this, I've only watched it 3 times, but every time I watch it, I like it a little bit more. So maybe I'll continue on that trend and eventually it'll move up into 2nd. But I don't think any movie that they release in this franchise will top Scream for me. The new cast of characters that are going to continue on the franchise all have their own reasons for being in the movie, and it's cool to see how the characters relate to the past characters in the franchise. They didn't shy away from killing key characters and providing major shock value with Sheriff Hicks and Dewey's deaths. Radio Silence are very good at telling a whodunit story, and I'm excited to see the direction they take with the franchise in Part 6. Quality, I also gave it a 9 out of 10. I said the movie is well acted as always. The kills and gore were brutal as hell, much like they were in 4. And I love the direction they're taking with the violence in these movies, which is what I talked about earlier. I liked the false jump scares that they put throughout the movie. Like it really upped the tension and suspense, like especially with Wes. We talked about that scene where he's kind of going around his house and opening up doors, and we think that something's going to happen, and then stuff like that happens periodically throughout as well. And I thought the writing was on par with something that Kevin Williamson could have done. So I think they overall, the whole cast and crew did an amazing job with this one. 9 out of 10 for both for me.
Very nice. Very nice.
You want me to go?
Sure.
All right. Story, but you're shocked. I gave it a 10 out of 10. I know you guys are shocked. I said brilliantly written and acted. It's a love letter to Wes Craven and Scream, but I feel like it also built on the legacy of Scream. Like I don't think they just went back and paid homage to Wes in the first Scream or the franchise, but I think they really built on it and will continue to build on it. So I think they did a really great job. Quality, I also gave it a 10 out of 10. I think every kill is well done. The opening scene sets the pace for how brutal this Ghostface is and where this movie's headed. And then the Dewey and the Richie scenes also are just so well acted, so well done. You don't look at it and like it's not heavily CGI. Like I think they did everything perfectly and true to the franchise. So 10 out of 10 for both.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Well, Josh and I have the same scores. So
Nice.
Story 10 out of 10. Not much else to add. I really like how they incorporate this into like just the first movie. They don't really even touch on the other movies at all, which I think is really nice. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Quality 10 out of 10 as well. I just think the acting is brilliant. The kills are great. The score is really good. Again, like before I rewatched Scream 4, I had like Scream and then Scream 4 and then this movie. And then after watching this again, I changed them again. So now it's the original Scream, this one, and then Scream 4. But honestly, that'll probably change throughout my watches of all these.
Nice.
Yeah.
You ever think this will be at the top?
No. Definitely not. No, I don't think so.
It's the nostalgia factor, right?
Yeah.
Like Scream, the original Scream has so much nostalgia. Like we can all agree, like it's been one of our favorite horror movies while growing up and all that shit. Like,
yeah. And I've been doing like my rankings of like movies, like not just horror movies of 2022. I did have this movie at like number like 15, I think.
mhm.
But after this watch, I was just like, this is just like too like nostalgic and just too my movie. So it's moved all the way up to number 4
Shit,
for me.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have this as my second favorite 2022 movie, right behind the Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, of 20. I thought you were talking horror. So you're talking all of 2020.
Yeah. All movies. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This thing might be a runaway for movie of the year then.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll pick something different because I don't want like the same fucking movie everyone picks, you know.
I changed the spreadsheet. So you got first pick and then second place. So I'm going to do it to where we have at least 5.
Okay.
I think 4, I think is what I said to vote on.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think it's going to be a runaway.
I think
us 3 will.
Mhm.
I don't think it'll be Tawny and Felicia's favorite, and I don't think it'll be Seth and Jess's either.
I think you might be right, dude. So it's just us 3.
I think it'll just be us 3.
Yeah.
But yeah,
should be fun.
I think so. All right, you guys know our scores. Let's head on over to Rotten Tomatoes and see what they've scored it. This is one of those movies that has a critics consensus and an audience consensus. So I think it's only like newer movies that do this. But starting off with the critics consensus, the 5th Scream finds the franchise working harder than ever to maintain its meta edge and succeeding surprisingly often. The audience says Scream 2022 definitely isn't shy about calling back to the franchise's past, but it's still fun and scary in its own unique way. I can agree with both. Josh, do you know the critic score?
I do not.
All right. Lay it on me. What do you think it is?
76.
Whoa. Are you sure you don't know the critic score already?
No, I promise I didn't.
You nailed it.
Was it 76?
It was 76.
Attaboy.
Yes.
Yeah, 76% on 289 reviews and a 6.6 out of 10 average score.
Nice.
Brooke, do you want to take a guess at the audience score, or did you check already?
No, I didn't check the audience score. No. I'm going to say, I think it's lower than that. So I'm going to go 64.
Okay. You went the wrong way.
Oh, okay.
82% on
Wow.
2,500 ratings and an average score of 4.1 out of 5 or an 8.2 out of 10.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
impressed.
usually it's the same as like kind of the same as Letterboxd, and
Mhm.
Letterboxd it's harsh on this movie, man. So Letterboxd has a 3.4 out of 5.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, I give it a 5. Mark gave it a 4. Josh gave it a 5. Sloshing Captain a 4.5, 4.5 out of 5. Jensen from the Fright Crew gave it a 3. Screamin Cinema gave it a 4 out of 5. And then I'm kind of scared to read this review, but I'll read it anyway.
Who's it from?
So Nathan from I Hope You Suffer podcast.
Oh God,
boy.
he has some hot takes.
He gave it half a star. And he said, how is it even possible this is worse than Halloween Kills?
Oh, I do remember seeing that. What the fuck?
One of our VIP crewbies, Ashley V, she came on a Cocktails episode. She also does not like this movie at all.
What was her reasoning?
She didn't like it. I don't know.
Just didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
Hmm.
Thought it was corny, cheesy. Didn't like it.
Well, they all kind of are.
But she gives us her hard-earned money, so I'm not going to argue with her. I was like, you're damn right that movie sucks. Fuck that movie.
But each person's opinion is their own. So
That's
Mhm.
true. That's true.
Way to be politically correct about it, Brooke. All right, you guys ready for the scare section?
yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. Brooke, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I gave this scare rating a 5 out of 10. One of the more brutal entries into the Scream franchise. Pretty much all the kills were brutal. The tension and the score really helped kind of build the tension, especially in the first scene. Like I said, this Ghostface seemed more like menacing and scary to me. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Scariest scene, I went with Wes's kill just because how brutal it was, and like just because you could see, like usually with a stab, like you don't see the actual knife like in them. But with this one, it's like I was waiting for like the skin to like burst out or something like that, because it was like, oh man, right at the edge of his neck. Fucking brutal. And he didn't even see his mom like die, right? Because he like the door was open and like he could have opened it and saw his mom dead, which is probably better for him, I guess.
But that, like, I forgot to mention that earlier too. Like, that makes that scene even that more sad because, like, he's just going around the house getting like their cutlery and their dishes ready because she went out to get sushi for them to have supper together, and he has no idea that she's laying dead on their front step.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
And he kind of like is like standing there, like makes a split decision, like just shut the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And would I survive? I said no, I don't think so. These ghost faces are, they're drinking something else because they're brutal as hell. How
What about you,
guys?
Josh?
I originally, so bear with me here. I originally had it as a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
However, because the brutality is ramped up, it doesn't hold back on the gore. I think it's just, again, all the kills are well done. But then I got to thinking about it, and like the whole message behind this movie is toxic fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if you ever look like on the face, I'm in a bunch of horror movie groups on Facebook, and I like it was the other day. It was what movie came out? Barbarian. I think when Barbarian came out, people were either they loved it or they hated it. People were on there arguing and bitching, and you're an idiot, and this fucking movie's stupid. And I'm like, this shit could realistically happen. Like somebody on one of these message boards could go crazy, and this could happen. So I bumped it from a 6 to a 7. So I went 7 out of 10 for scare because of those things. My scariest scene. So it's a two-parter, long-winded. I'm sorry. The first one that I had to give it to was Sheriff Judy's kill. Because I remember being in the theater the first night we watched it, and Abby and I were not expecting Ghostface to be on the fucking porch. You see Officer Judy, we were expecting her to run in and find Wes dead or whatever, and like she's running up the sidewalk, and boom, there's Ghostface. So I think Abby was like, "Oh shit!" So that definitely they got us with the jump scare there, but you can't say that scene at the end of Sam killing Richie isn't horrifying. To see the protagonist of the story become this brutal killer, and it's again all mentally, like it's terrifying.
That's true.
That's it. Yeah, I'd survive because I would just leave Woodsboro.
Taking the easy way out.
But then you'll forget your inhaler and then you can't leave.
That's true. But the other deciding factor for me is I would have a much higher likelihood of dying in Scream 2 because it takes place in Ohio. And because this boy ain't going to California. I'm sorry. Ain't happening.
All right. My scare rating, I gave it a 4 out of 10. But I think I'm going to bump it up to a 5. Because I like Josh's comments on like how this could actually happen with the toxic stardom or fandom.
Stardom too.
Stardom too. So 5 out of 10. Good gore as always. A couple brutal kills. Very dark setting for a lot of it that helped with the suspense and tension. We had like the odd typical jump scare that we see in the other movies, and then there was also like the false jump scares that we expected and had us on the edge of our seats, and then never happened. So, and then the whole toxic fandom thing that absolutely could happen. There's some crazy fucking people out there. Scary scene. I said Amber's come back after we think she's dead. That part was so goddamn effective in the theater. Like I remember jumping at that, and like just the visual of her face like half burnt off, and it was just, I don't know, it was scary as fuck. Would I survive? I said no. They're killing anyone and everyone. No holds barred. Everyone's dying.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This is our last Loomis's villain evaluation.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
For our Screamin September, we've had 4 other ones. This one is on its own, but I have the chart with all of the previous ones listed here. So we're going to see how this one would go up against these other ones. Nice. I've highlighted the winners for each category.
Okay.
So do you guys want me to read those off right now, or do you want to wait until we kind of go through our rankings of this one?
I'd say wait.
Wait? Okay.
He wants the suspense.
The suspense. Yeah. All right.
Can I go pee real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, God, dude. I'm about to blow.
Well, that's sparkling water.
Can't hear you, fucking Mark.
You know what you should do on the Instagram post when we post this? You should actually put like the chart on the post.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever done that before.
No. Well, we've never had 5 movies in a Villain
That's true.
Faceoff. But yeah, I can start doing that with all of them.
Yeah.
And that might get some conversations going. We have one clear-cut winner right now. So it'll be interesting to see if Scream 5 takes it. Oh. I won some more money tonight thanks to that
nice
KC and Tampa Bay game.
Yeah, as soon as I won that, I like won a free bet worth of like $24 or something with Score
nice.
too.
That's sick. Yeah, they're really good at giving you free shit. Yeah, I had a parlay and I needed I think it was, what was the over? I can't remember. It's like 47 or something like that. And fucking Chiefs almost have that by themselves. Can't believe New England almost pulled out a win today.
I know, fucking
wild.
What's the QB's name? The guys, the rookie?
Bailey Zapp.
Bailey Zapp. Twitter was going nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot, but I mean, he managed the game. So,
what are you so giggly about?
Nobody's giggly.
Mark's Patriots almost beat the Packers today with a third string QB.
Oh,
rookie
wow.
QB.
Oh, even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Have you?
No.
I didn't think so.
Too fucking busy for football.
Oh, come on.
Busy guy. Busy guy. You know I can sing so good either, did you?
Nope. Had no idea. I was telling Brooke too, we have one clear-cut winner so far in the grand scheme of things. So it'll be interesting to see if...
Did you tell him what it was? What the category was?
Nope.
Does this help?
It helps.
All right, want me to go first?
Sure.
All right. It's very distracting, Josh. So for brutality, I gave a 30 out of 30.
Okay.
I just think the kills were very bloody and brutal. Very emotional movie. Like Dewey's death was brutal, and yeah, I just perfect for this movie. So 30 out of 30 for that. Creativity, I gave a 28 out of 30. Not only like were the kills creative, but just like the planning that Amber and Richie did of, keeping Tara alive at the beginning and all of that. Like Richie knows nobody in this town. Like he doesn't even live there. So for them to scheme all this, which is kind of goes in the motive a bit, but yeah. Dexterity gave a 26 out of 30. The Ghostface in this moves around pretty damn well. I mean, Tara is pretty much looks like a child, but Ghostface handles himself pretty well against Dewey, who's a seasoned vet. He comes prepared with the bulletproof vest, and as soon as Dewey gets distracted for 1 second, Ghostface is right up on its feet just to annihilate Dewey. Intelligence, I gave a 27 out of 30. For a couple movie nerds on Reddit, they are some smart fucks. They plan all this pretty well. They try and manipulate Sam's mind to believe that Tara's the killer. So 27 out of 30 for that.
Nice.
Motive, I only gave a 24 out of 30. Like, I do think, like what Josh said, they're a good duo, but I just don't think their motive, like their connection to any of like the family members, they're just doing this to make a movie, which I guess is what everyone was doing in the other movies, but I didn't feel like their motive was as strong as the other ones. And then charisma, I gave a 26 out of 30. Amber has the same personality pretty much throughout the whole movie, and Richie, he's just playing the character of boyfriend, which Billy did in the first movie. And then once it's revealed that he's a killer, he just like changes like that. So 26 out of 30.
Very nice. Cool. All right, Josh, your turn.
Okay. Brutality, I also gave him a 30 out of 30. This is the most brutal Ghostface yet, from the opening scene to them actually dying themselves. Like even their kills were freaking brutal. But I think hands down, this one has the best kills in the franchise as a whole. Creativity, I went with an 18 out of 30. Brooke, you had like a 28. That's pretty high. I said, while overly brutal, the creativity lacks, in my opinion. To be honest, I think that the reason the creativity lacks is because the movie focused on building up these newer generation of characters, with Tara, Sam, and Mindy and Chad. I think that's where the focus is at, and they made Ghostface just brutal because I don't feel like he was overly creative, in my opinion. Agility, 25 out of 30. I mean, Amber gets shot 6 times and still gets up and kills Dewey. Gets hit with the candelabrum, as Mark so elegantly put it. For fuck's sake, she gets lit on fire and comes back with no face. Richie got shot by Sydney and he comes back. So I mean, this Ghostface gets the crap beat out of him. So really, now that I'm saying this, I'll go 27 out of 30 instead of 25. So 27 out of 30 for agility.
Okay.
Intelligence, I went with 20 out of 30. This one was actually really hard for me because I feel like Richie did a good job of navigating everyone to where they needed to be, but I also feel like they had a little bit of luck on a couple things that happened.
Yeah, he did even say that too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like a few things, because even the inhaler thing, he was like, I can't believe that worked. So like, I don't know, 20 out of 30. Drive and motive, I also had a 20 out of 30. I think the motive on its own, while completely relevant in 2022, it's not as good as some of the other motives in the other Scream movies. But where these two really do shine, because I think I had this at like a 5. I had it at a 5 originally for drive and motive. And then where I think these two really shine is their partnership, because I think they are the best duo together out of all the movies. Because again, I already went through why at the end they don't turn on each other or kill each other. So I think that in that instance, I bumped it up to a 20 because I think that a lot should be said about that because they are such a good combo. Charisma, 30 out of 30. Every time I watch this movie, I like Amber more. I think she's ruthless, completely psychotic, and possibly the toughest Ghostface ever. Feel free to disagree, but I think she's pretty freaking tough. Her ability to turn on and off her remorse is amazing, and she's a true freaking psychopath, in my opinion. And one of my favorite lines of the Scream movies is when Gail says, "You killed my best friend," and she's like, "Yeah, and he died like a pussy." Like, so good. Richie's also great, and he's like so obvious that you don't question him. Like he's so obvious that he should be the killer that you're like, he can't be the killer. And then lo and behold, yeah, I know it sucks. It's me. It's him. So 30 out of 30 for charisma.
Very nice.
Whew, that was a lot.
I'm just adding them up here, and then I'll go through mine.
You want me to put it back on?
Oh, no.
I'm gonna send you guys one of these.
It looks like the mask that Dwight puts on in The Office, like the fucking
whenever he cuts
the
off the CPR.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go through mine. All right. My brutality, I also gave it a 30. I gave this one 3 scores before finally settling on this. They weren't quite as brutal with their kills as they were in Scream 4, but like Wes's nasty fucking neck stab death and like Amber's death, just like with the whole fire. But they get big points for killing off 2 integral characters in the franchise with Hicks and fucking Dewey. Like killing Dewey alone is gonna bump that way up. But then they like Hicks is an integral, obviously. But I mean, she was a big part of Scream 4. We assumed once we saw her in this that she was possibly going to be a big part of this one. And like just the way that she dies too is fucking brutal. Creativity, I gave a 27. I said they managed to get all 3 of the original characters back, whether or not it was fully their doing. It still happened because of them. The whole opening scene with Tara injuring her just enough to make Sam come back, as well as enough to keep Tara out of the fight. Just like one less character to have to worry about. They based their entire strategy off the whole requel theory and perfected it pretty well. So 27. Dexterity or agility, I gave a 24. I said another movie with the killers being good on their feet. We don't see a whole lot of chase scenes, but we do see Ghostface being quick on their feet and holding their own in fights. Especially that scene in the hospital cafeteria. Like that was a good scene where we see like a lot of close quarters combat, if you want to call it that. Intelligence, I gave a 26. I said, as previously mentioned, they planned this whole thing out perfectly to fit the requel theory. Amber was smart enough to keep people off her trail through most of the movie, yet still keeping herself in the forefront of the story. Like she was always there, but never a suspect. And the same kind of rings true with Richie. He played the oblivious to horror guy very well. And even though no one really knew who he was, no one really overly suspected, except for Dewey, that he could have been the killer. Yeah. This is where we differ hugely. Motive, I gave an 8.
Well, I mean, Josh did say that he originally gave it a 5, right?
That's true. I said their motive was just to get a movie made off of their killings because they were pissy about how the Stab franchise was playing out. This motive screams entitled Gen Z punks, and it's pretty much the only thing I don't like about this movie.
It's fair.
I know. Charisma, I gave a 24. Amber was a straight up bitch who had a constant chip on her shoulder the entire movie, but her relationship with Tara could have been admirable had it not been for the fact that she was a killer. Richie was a dopey guy who was likable enough. And again, had he not been a killer, you could have almost felt bad for the way he was being treated from the other characters. They're just like assholes to him, right? Like he's a new guy in town. Nobody knows who he is. They're just being pricks to the new guy. But I mean, Richie was more likable than Amber, but both filled their respective roles pretty well. All right.
What's the verdict?
Okay, so the previous winner for brutality was Scream 4 with 28.
Mm-hmm.
Scream 5 has surpassed that with an average score of 30. So Scream 5 wins. The previous winner of creativity was Billy and Stu in Scream with 25, and that remains the same. Scream 5 had an average of 24.3.
Ooh, it's close.
Very close. Dexterity and agility, the previous winner was 25.7. Scream 3. Scream 5 ties that, was 25.7.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, that's odd.
Mm-hmm. Intelligence, the previous winner was Scream 4, was 25.7, and that stays true. Scream 5 is 24.3. Drive and motive was Scream 4 with 23. That stays the same. Scream 5 has a 17.3. Charisma was Billy and Stu in Scream with an average score of 27.7, and Scream 5 loses that one, 26.7.
Damn.
So Scream 4 remains on top with 3 winning categories. Next up was Scream with 2 winning categories. Or wait, hold on. Yeah. Scream was 2 winning categories.
What did Scream 4 win?
Scream 4 won brutality, intelligence, and motive.
I thought
Scream 5 won brutality.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Shit, my bad. Okay. Hold on.
You just did it, Mark. Come on.
I know.
Christ.
Terrible. I'm sorry.
With the exception of 3, they're all pretty like, they each have like 2, I think.
Scream 2 has 0.
No, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot all about Scream 2. I'm looking at 1, 5, and 4, which are my 3 favorite.
Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so Scream 5, Scream 4, and Scream all tie with 2 winning categories. And then Scream 3. Well, Scream 5 and Scream 3 are tied, so we'll consider that a win regardless. Scream 3 has 1, and then Scream 2 has none.
Man, Scream 2 had 0.
Yeah. Its highest score was brutality, with a 26.
Yeah.
It's tough to compete.
Yep. So yeah, I'm going to post this chart on our Instagram post whenever I put this up. Be interesting to see if anybody comments whether they agree or disagree.
I'm sure the I Hope You Suffer guy is going to let you know.
Yeah, I'm sure he will too. All right, there we go. All right, so no real clear-cut winner anymore. 3-way tie. But I mean, the 3 best movies in the franchise too, so
yeah,
it's kind of ironic in a sense. Maybe we're all just biased and we scored these ones higher because we like them so much.
Yeah, but your saving grace is that you had 2 different guest hosts for most of them, so.
That's true, actually. Chuck came on for Scream 4. And Scream 2, yeah. Well, Josh, you gave your scores for it, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, guess we can wrap it up.
Yeah, Josh never plugged his podcast.
Oh, fuck. He's plugged it like 100 times on here, but go ahead.
Oh, great. I get to do it again?
Yeah, you can do it again if you want.
I'm Josh, 1/3 of the Horror Movie Crew podcast. Check us out on all major podcast platforms. You probably already know who I am because I'm on here all the time. So thank you guys for having me again.
Anytime.
Short and sweet.
That's it. Everybody knows me. Come on.
I'm just picturing all the listeners just rolling their eyes at this point.
Yeah, they're probably, God, this guy again? Check out HMC Studios on YouTube. You'll love it.
Yeah. All right. As for us, if you guys want to catch us on social media, you can find us at a podcast on Elm Street on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you click the link in our bio on Instagram, you'll find links to our TeePublic account where we have our merch. There's also a link to our Patreon account if you wish to support the podcast that way. There's also links to each of our individual Letterboxd accounts, our Discord server, and anywhere that you can listen to us. Thank you once again, Josh, for joining us for your second episode in this Screamin September franchise watch and discussion. Always a pleasure having you on. Always bring a lot to the table. Great discussions all around. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
All right. And we're not sure when we're releasing our next episode. I don't know if it'll be next week.
It won't be next week.
October's weird for us. I don't even think we've told them what we're doing.
No, do you want? Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, may as well.
For any listeners, well, there's probably a lot of you that don't know. My wife is giving birth to twins on Wednesday, October 5th. So my October and rest of the year, I guess we could say, is going to be pretty fucking busy. We already have 2 kids, so we're doubling up on them. So yeah, we've kind of modified our October schedule. We're only going to be releasing 2 episodes this month, but they're going to be big episodes because it's October. We can't just do 2 normal episodes. So we're going to be doing 2 franchise episodes. So kind of like this, but condensed into one.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't talked about what our first one's going to be.
Either or, one of them.
All right. We're going to be doing Final Destination for one of them and Phantasm for the other one.
Yeah.
Phantasm will be like basically, first time franchise watch for both of us.
Yeah.
And
I've only seen the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And then Final Destination is just a fun, chill, fucking.
I think it's one of those franchises like kind of similar to Scream in the sense where it's, that nostalgic, like we grew up on those first 3 movies, 4 movies, I guess.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it. You heard it here first.
But that's it. And we'll talk to you guys next week or the week after.
Yeah. Thanks again, Josh.
Thanks for having me, dude. Appreciate it.
No problem. All right, we're out of here. Bye.